1 versus 3 down to the 1v1, a wonderful. Oh, 1 versus 3 down to the 1v1, now he knows. 1 versus 3 down to the 1v1.
Turn it around and follows from Vinny. He's going to rush to the site. It's Zayu that holds. He's been baited out of one shot. Taro holds the angle. He's being picked apart. Oh, but he gets an incredible no-scope, but he's not done there. You want Zayu, Brazil? You got him.
He's getting away with murder. Oh man, Simple's going to do it all alone, but he is making it happen. He's making it happen. Down to the 1v2. He's running out of ammo.
Big game. First of the 3. But another. He's isolated the duel. 2, 1. Headshot. Oh, he's done it.
No teammate. What does he need one? Snappy finding that 3rd kill and pushing all the pressure onto the shoulders of Yuri. And coordinating on the retakes. So Pius to the left. Goes down first. Yuri now headhunting as Valdo works forward. He's up both kills. What was that adjustment?
Man, we've had some nasty clutches going down here in this arena. If you guys were voting, who are you going to be voting for out of those?
I might be a little biased, but that wonderful clutch made me squeal in the green room. So I'm just going to go for the young gun.
I'm going to co-sign that, Blair. I think that guy has just been such a great late-round player for the side of Spirit. Yeah. I'm excited to see what he's able to accomplish in the future, too.
Yeah, very much so. Make sure you guys get your votes in, and we will be announcing the winner at the end of the grand final. But speaking of which, man, we have an absolute banger on the cards. Kicker and Jane once again taking on some Danes in a grand final major stage, but this time it comes in the form of Heroic. We'll be back with all the grand final action in just a few.
The bell tolls for Cologne. This cathedral, a cathedral that is stacked from the earth to the heavens with the greatest of all the fans, the most passionate.
Joined by none other than the Professor himself. Fallen has kindly taken time out of his busy schedule of signing everything he possibly can here in Cologne. The demands just were flowing in. We finally got separated him from his roaring, adoring fans to watch some of your own Counter-Strike, which I assume you do every night, right?
Well,
you watch your highlights and...
Sometimes I do watch the old highlights from CS 1.6 just to get the vibe
Get the juices?
Yeah,
I
actually did that a couple weeks ago.
I'm not surprised. yeah, I bet that feels good. Well, we're going CSGO for this.
Merci.
Encore fini le mec si a épicé son temps. Mesdames et messieurs.
Faites comme Cole Caulfield et savourez le flamboyant mec croustillant épicé.
Biotherm Aquapower Advanced Gel with life plankton and bioceramides to stabilize skin and fortify skin barrier. Biotherm Homme.
Que vous ayez envie d'un film, de danser ou de jouer avec la nouvelle Visa RBC Ion Plus, obtenez 3 fois les points avion récompense pour chaque dollar dépensé sur la diffusion en continu et les jeux vidéo en ligne. Voici la Visa RBC Ion Plus.
holidays were lonely for the Yeti, but after saving big with early Black Friday at Amazon, Yeti became more social. Oh, yes, please.
Nicorette gum is clinically proven to provide fast relief of cravings to help you quit.
Because it was cool, but there's plenty of more better plays, I guess.
Oh, that's for sure. Okay.
Flamian, Falling trying to move close here, mid-air shot on Guardian, he tries again, he's still got a little bit of health left, jumps around, Falling, he gets that shot.
I never understood when I watched this.
Why I stopped there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, I had like low HP at this point, like 17 HP or something like that. And I knew that if I kept searching for him, the chance of him finding me in any angle would make him win.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of gamble. He doesn't know where I am. Because it's faster here. I think at the game, I waited a couple seconds more, like 7 to 8 seconds more. So the possibilities on his mind
like he was thinking
are growing too. Yeah, they're growing too.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 5.
We'll put it on 5.
5 for now.
And Happy even waiting for the push in. Fallen gets the spray shot anyway. What is that? What is that?
Yeah, that was one of the only times I actually felt that. Something told me, like on my mind, your only chance is taking a shot here, and it might hit. Like, go for it. I didn't even stop pressing my keyboard. I was like, okay, if that hits, then I can go. And then some clicking on my mind is saying, just press it.
Yeah.
For real. It never happened again.
Just like divine intervention.
Yeah, just press it.
Just click.
And then you know how this round ends? It's the most depressing thing ever. I kill this guy, and then I go to the rock, and I insta hold left side on the square thing.
Such ridiculous.
And then I hold left because I knew the guy would freak out and pick me. And then someone on my team, I think it was Bolts, you don't have a defuse kit. And then I moved. And then when I moved, Kenya's picked me. But that was crazy. I would put that one on 7, but that's the only time I felt, basically, that I remember when something really clicked in my mind for no reason. That was the only
like
time.
just instinct.
Instinct.
Raw instinct.
Your only chance is pressing now.
Bam.
Now, go save if you don't.
Yeah.
Boom,
actually hits it. All right, bit of D2.
Wow, that's... Oh, we don't talk about that, guys. This is saving the AWP highlights. That's a confidence highlight right there. I mean, it was pretty nice. Good skill saving it.
And how often does the whole team die while hunting? Like
even more if it's a James dying first.
True, that's the weird part.
Yeah, that's actually the highlight right there.
James dies first.
Like James dies
while
first.
You save.
Yeah,
a complete reversal.
Actually, that's my favorite now.
Yeah, actually, it's got some legs. It has got some legs. And the no scope here is pretty hard. Just an extra bit of satisfaction. Is that a no scope? No, it wasn't. That one is.
Yeah, just by the way he was moving, and I think I could hear the footsteps too. Like there must be someone else coming in. Yeah, it was a good saving highlights, but we don't talk about those. But if it's James coming first, we talk about those.
James dies first while Fallen saves. I mean, maybe that could take the 11th spot.
No one can script that.
No, it's too poetic. It's too poetic.
That was pretty cool.
Wow.
I mean, so much skill involved.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean,
how satisfying if you
just hit that one,
Just hit that one, man. You ruined it. You ruined it.
Yeah,
what are you doing, Gabriel?
It's pretty cool play, just because I couldn't even see them. But there's better ones. Let's see. I think we can put those there. Let's keep going. More train?
Of course. I think we found your best map, bro.
This is VP. Yeah, definitely.
VP.
That was a pretty important round too, and I remember on this round they were coming from everywhere, and I had to gamble that the guy from ladder wouldn't come out. I think it's new inside ladder, and this time I was just searching for all the duos. This one would be what, maybe 6?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
He may be able to get the bomb planted. Not too bad, all things considered. Oh, and he lands the fast shot onto JW as well. That opens up the chance now. Has come from the same side, and he is correct in that assumption. He's going to get a second. Surely not! Fallen! Oh my god!
And it was actually crazy. if you watch this in low speed, because I watched some clips later.
I mean, they peak at exactly the same time.
A little bit further.
No. Oh yeah, so Abs comes first, but you don't swing. How the? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was playing, I didn't see this lane guy, the second one. So all I could think is, okay, the opportunity for the first kill is actually up there.
Yeah.
But by the time I was shooting this guy, then I saw the lane guy, so I already knew what to do next. And then this shot is super hard. I was actually so happy that I hit it. Yeah, that's so hard. To hit the guy, it wasn't even a headshot. That was so hard.
I mean, what are you? It wasn't even a wall bang either. So you just hit that perfect body, like this much of him showing.
Small. Yeah, that's the top 3 for now.
That's for sure. That's so strong. Hard. That is a strong candidate. Oh, I do miss Train. I never thought I'd say that.
Oh. It's better than IEMRIO, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's much more important than
third map, 1v2 to force overtime.
Well, I think you gotta replace the...
What was it? The Cobble 1v2 against
Yeah,
Mouse?
the Cobble 1v2. I think this one is better.
Okay.
Oh, against Astralis, this one is cool too.
This is like this. I don't know why this. I feel like this clip in particular is kind of like your personality evolving as well. Like it's very Fallen-esque, you know.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike isn't played like this anymore.
Well,
not all the time.
Yeah, to be honest, those things don't happen much because it has to be in a very specific way for you to have all those chances, right? And it's possible to happen again, to be honest, the way it has been played. I don't think there's anything particularly different here from what people have been doing. It's just that the timings of all the picks, like if you play this round a lot of times, it's not gonna happen all this time like that, you know? So that's why it makes it very special too.
Well, we've had 3 weeks of the best Counter-Strike in the world live here from Rio de Janeiro, but it all comes down to this today. We've seen high highs, low lows, dreams shattered, and new stars rising up above expectations. But it takes more than a top 10 world ranking to rise above here in the fire pit that is Rio. It's not about what you've won in the past, it's about how you can do here, because Rio has been brutal. It isn't FaZe in the final, it isn't Na'Vi or Vitality, it isn't even Furia. There are only 2 teams that have stood head and shoulders above the rest. Outsiders and Heroic will fight it out today, and one of them will become your Rio CSGO Major champions.
For more than a decade, Kaden was looking for the perfect teammates, and finally he found those 4 individuals that helped him to showcase his brilliance as an IGL. In the last few years, they kept on being called onliners, and right now is their golden opportunity to not only prove everyone wrong, but also to start a new Danish era.
Outsiders are the dark horse that made it to the grand final once again. This core of Dastan, Kicker and James have not achieved this since Berlin back in 2019. Fame, he's become a revelation. Norbert exceeding expectations. James bringing up a level way above what we even saw back in Berlin. These guys are looking hot, and now they want to try and lift that trophy. James himself said the finals means everything to this team, and they've worked hard to get there. But there's one final game, one final test that they need to overcome. This is the Intel Extreme Masters. This is Championship Sunday. It is time to see how this game is going to go down and which team will be the new major champions here in Rio.
Major champions, that's right, baby. We have arrived at the station. Finally, the road to Rio comes to a culmination. It's Outsider versus the Heroics of the Danish side. And I welcome you all back to another day here at the Intel Extreme Masters. We just had a pretty cool show match. It's been a while since I've seen some Train, but moreover, when I said I appreciated the executes there on Train to Fur and Cold in the hallway. Throwback. I had to show some appreciation right there, because who still knows those smokes? You guys know those smokes?
I think I could. I think we could get away.
Those never go away. I know the sandwich smoke.
Okay, there you go. Right? That's the easy one.
That's the easiest one. But man, you tell me, Trace, if we don't need Train back instead of overpass, or where do you go?
Look, I'm going to agree there.
Well, devs, hear me.
Valvo, please. Valvo, please, Train. Would we want to go into the Trains? I guess that's going to be the age-old question, Maniac.
Yes, I would absolutely love to see Train again. But you know what? Just get a bit of dust to a Mirage. Give them a pass a bit longer. Just a little bit longer.
They've had the run.
exactly. We've seen it enough. We know what it's all about now, but we're not going to refine game right now, Trace. We have something else on our hands.
No, the big picture is this. There's a grand final amongst us, and it is just about time to get that underway. This is not a best of 5, not a best of 7. We're talking about potentially 3 maps to determine the world champion here in Rio. And in doing so, we do crown a brand new org that way.
Listen, if your name isn't Janko Paunovic, you haven't seen this grand final coming. That's as easy as it gets, right? I don't think we followed any of the pronostics, any of the narratives and the dialogue, but the truth is, the Counter-Strike has spoken. And we have the 2 highest level of Counter-Strike playing teams right here, right now, personified by these 2 heroes, or shall I say anti-heroes, because they both had turbulent careers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of villain on both sides of the equation here, which kind of goes to the wayside at this point, doesn't it, Janko?
Listen, the storylines didn't really mention any of these teams. They were not in the script that we had prepared for this tournament, but they've just been quietly playing the best Counter-Strike, right? And yes, I had them make the grand finals, but I also didn't have Heroic make the playoffs initially. I thought they were going to stumble and fail, so to speak, but you know, once I've seen them play, I saw they actually came here very well prepared. We heard it from them in interviews from Katie saying, yes, we struggled ever since we added Yappy, but we've slowly been improving. The goal was always to peak at the major, and we feel like we managed to do exactly that.
And this isn't the first time these 2 teams have squared off within the confines of Rio, just this time around. We're talking about 1 map of Overpass. The history between these 2 teams, it's there. It's something that we can take a look at. And right out of the gate, what are you thinking about it, Emmanuel?
If we're thinking big pictures, it is quite clear that the Danes have the numbers of outsiders formerly VP figured out, Trace. There have been 2 very historical occasions upon which they've played against each other. It's the quarterfinal in Stockholm, mind you, a major, and obviously that birth to the semifinals in Katowice. Here we see it's absolutely switched. It is, of course, the Danes who are leading the way in this head-to-head.
Yeah, the logos should be on different sides, but in those matchups, Heroic did have the advantage, and in this particular tournament, you can see if you just look at the score, 69 for Heroic. Yeah, that was not a super easy win, but not really close either. But then you see at the round timeline, and you see that came from a 13-2 CT side from Heroic, right? And we've seen some excellent T sides from Jame and the Outsider this tournament. I don't think that's going to repeat itself if we go to Overpass again.
I mean, 13-2. That's a pretty big one to come back from.
In Overpass, the Outsiders had a 15-0 versus Fnatic in the Challenger stage. So
it's true.
Yeah,
I think it's typically when you're a little bit fresh off. You know, you're green in the tournament, you're not really warmed up. The defense is shutting you out, but ain't nothing on that happening here. Everybody's warmed up.
Yeah, this is a totally different vibe altogether. For a grand final of a major, for every player in the server today, they have come here and they've been looking at this trophy for a real long time, and that's something to grab onto. This isn't just a new team or a new face grabbing hold of that trophy. We're talking about, you know, life goals being achieved today by 5 players in that server.
Well, listen, I wish I could tell you that I know what it is to win a major, but I don't. I have absolutely no idea, because there's only a few blessed individuals who have achieved that, who've put their name in the legends of the game. Now, sure, on the side of Outsiders, both Kicker and Jame had 1 opportunity in their career. They had 1 opportunity in Berlin to make it. That didn't pan out. They won 11 rounds, grand total, in that grand final, which hurt as much. But for Kagan, he's never really graced the grand final stage. That is going to be the first time for he and his boys. That's a new experience.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you said the buzzwords right there I was looking for, Kicker and Jame, because it appears as though the arrival is now. Heku's over there catching up with him.
Outsiders are entering the building. Hey, Jame, I see like now you're pretty fluent in English. Are you ready for another interview?
No, sorry. I need full focus on our game.
All right, you need full focus, but maybe I can like disturb you for a little second. Do you feel excited for the upcoming series, for the grand final?
I'm feeling nothing.
You're feeling nothing? Not even a little bit excitement?
No, all good.
That's actually impressive. Okay, like, but do you feel anything?
No.
I'm speechless. You're speechless, guys. I mean, good luck.
Mr. Cadian, I know you wanted this for a long time. What does it feel like going into today?
It feels good, but there's still a lot to come, you know? Yep. Like, it would be very devastating not to win today, and yeah, we want to give it our all. We want to put in the last effort. We're all tired, but not tired that we are not going to fucking fight, you know?
You always fight, you always fight. Stown, you're going on to the grand final of the major. What was the feeling when you woke up this morning? Did it seem real?
No, not really. I mean, I would say I have a good feeling. I would say it's a special feeling, but it's a good feeling, you know? And I feel like we're in a good place as a team, and we believe we can win tonight.
I like it. Shush. Ready?
Yeah, I'm totally ready.
You got a big smile on your face as well. It's time?
Yeah, it's time to win a major, you know.
All right. I'm going to run on to one more person. Yabby, you can't escape me. The newest one to the team. You feel like you got it in you to do it today?
Yeah, I'm feeling ready.
Outsiders, no chance?
I mean, they have been playing good. We have been playing good, but we are better. So.
We are better. I love it. Good luck, mate. Thank you very much. Good luck, boys. Where'd Mike go?
Yeah, Shush looking to silence him, but ultimately it's the words of Katie, and we're going to take a quick look at. Never felt that pressure before and never been more proud. Obviously coming in here yesterday, not necessarily turning it into a library, but definitely turning it upside down on its head here in the arena, Maniac.
Listen, if you're going to accomplish something legendary, you have to push your own boundaries. This is how greatness is achieved, both in life and in Counter-Strike. And for Heroic, this was finally punching through the semifinals. We've had so many runs that failed short at that time. So much so to the point we talked about a glass ceiling, we talked about choking on the stage, not being able to bring their best Counter-Strike. They've put all that dialogue to bed against Furia with what they've done here. And now the sky is the limit for these boys, and they have to live with these expectations.
Definitely, and I think their approach was really good coming into yesterday's game, sort of being respectful. We heard it from Ston in the winner's interview here on the desk, kill them with kindness and understanding, that this moment is a little bit bigger than just themselves, but they're there to play the game. And, it felt very grim being up 15-5 on Ancient, and Furia makes that insane comeback. But the fact that Heroic was able to close it out in the first overtime, take it into a third map, right, and then just run away with it, play some amazing CS, and a couple of great clutches in there. The individuals play like that gives you great signs, coming into this grand final.
Yeah, and inversely, we flipped the same coin, because right now over there on the Virtus Pro side, and by Virtus Pro, I mean Outsiders, of course.
Of course you do.
Look, quick sleight of the tongue there. Don't worry about me. Actually, I'm feeling pretty calm because there is nothing special. We're just in the grand final, and we just need to prove ourselves tomorrow. Now, that's Norbert in an interview with HLTV, but ultimately, he's not wrong. The job's not done.
I do think that you are slightly lying to yourself if you pretend that this is a game like any other. And I think it might backfire in the end. I think if you're a player willing to give your best in a grand final, you have to somehow acknowledge how extraordinary the situation is. But instead of being afraid of it, just embrace it. This is a grand final. You are blessed with the opportunity to play a grand final. No, it's not going to be a game like any other. Absolutely not. In fact, you might never be on that stage ever at that point. So don't pretend like it is. Accept the challenge of what is coming in front of you.
I do see where he's coming from.
I know,
though, right? That it's like, a game, and we're focused on one game at a time. And also, there's been a lot of pomp around this tournament with the crowd and Furia playing and whatnot. I feel it's actually kind of cool that in the end it's just going to come down to the Counter-Strike. Like, there's not going to be too much. The crowd isn't going to be a huge factor. These are the two teams that have played the best CS, and it's going to come down who can execute better on the day.
And all eyes are on the leadership side of things, on the leaders themselves. That's why they're going to be in our Air Force Aim High head-to-head. It's going to be Cadian and James. Surprise, surprise. Both the men in their own rights, respected and loved around here. How does that help them? I'm not entirely sure, Maniac.
Let me get the similarities out of the way. We have two very interesting profiles, IGL plus AWP duty plus highest rated players over the team. That's where about the similarities stop now. The philosophy of Counter-Strike they put forth could not be any different. It's in fact an ice versus fire type of situation. We have Heroic with the explosive Counter-Strike, and we have Outsiders here personified with Jane with being calm, being resilient, having the stamina, making it a marathon. And I think that these value will help them in a grand final. I think it's good to be Outsiders in that setup.
Trace, you know what they say, if you want to achieve something you never achieved before, you have to do things you never done before. And we see Jay going for 1v3s and winning them. What the hell is going on, right? So obviously both players really stepped up in this tournament. Cadian at times considered, potentially a liability with that AWP. Obviously his leadership was never in question, right? But he stepped up in the last even month or so. He's playing, I think, in live form at the moment. And James, again, the most efficient probably opera. He's been the most consistent. Cadian has had a bit higher peaks, but also some lows when it comes to their losses.
And I think we just grab onto that ice and fire sentiment right there, because it's true. You talk about just the vibes within the camp, the stuff that we get out of interviews, the stuff that they portray outward. They're totally different atmospheres, totally different mindsets, Maniac.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Heroic is definitely very animated, both in and outside of the server. They live and die by the fire of the emotions. We know that, whereas for Outsiders, a bit more content, they're a bit more calm. Now, Now, I'm going to put forth a different perspective. I'd say whoever today can embrace the other side of the equation a bit more might have an edge. I want to see outsiders just catch up a little bit on fire, maybe surprise Heroic, and I want to see Heroic being able to calm it down when they need to. Whoever is going to be able to bring the best from the yin and the yang, I think D are going to, you know, lift the trophy.
I think the scene is set for a very sort of entertaining game, right? Explosive game of sorts, because you have this clash of styles, but outsiders, they've deepened their playbook, they've become a little bit more flamboyant, they're a little bit more wild when it comes to things that they do. And Heroic, sure, maybe they don't have that same element of depth, but if they catch fire, right, sometimes that can be enough to push them over the finish line. And you could tell that nuke game, that T-side against Furia, that's peak CS, right? And they won't get nuked today, but if they can replicate that on another map, then outsiders are in for a long day at the office.
Yeah, really good stuff there on Nuke. Obviously, we'll probably revisit that even more so as we go down the rabbit hole known as the grand finals of this major. I do have the storytellers, the commentators. You can call them whatever you like. I call them my friends, and that's going to be Sponge and Machine.
Oh, didn't see you there. Hi. Machine and Chad, given the honor of casting this grand final. Now, we're crowning a new major champion, guaranteed. Surely that's enough to be excited about.
Yeah, history in the making here today. I think you look at this event, how unpredictable it was coming into things. We've lost all of these favorites. We have a grand final that I don't think anybody would have had on their docket. And when you look at this stylistically, that's where you can get excited. James, cool, calm, collected against Katie on the other side. Very raw emotion, very fiery. And hopefully today we get that stylistic clash showing itself in the server. It should be a very good match.
A clash of styles, in-game leading AWPs, and a new major champion. I'm ready. I'm sure they are too over at the desk.
That's absolutely right, Machine, because honestly, when I think about individual experiences may vary, that's where we find ourselves. In the grand final, you know, it doesn't matter what team you're looking for. Yanko said it best. It's about the Counter-Strike at this point and the experience thus far.
And yeah, when we talk about experience, obviously Jaime and Kicker, this is their second major grand final. But as Maniac pointed out, you know, the first one wasn't really competitive at all. They played Renegades in the semifinals, so a bit of a, you know, easier bracket that you would expect them to have. And I think at the time they were definitely not ready to lift that trophy. You know, they weren't even a contender. So I think now it's been 3 years, right? And Jaime has been soaking up things, like realizing, changing some of the pieces, right? And now it's a completely different team.
It's a story of vindication for Jaime. That's how I see it. When you think about how he was memed about for a while. Hell, there were people who legitimately hated watching them play because they thought it was boring, it was too slow, it was unentertaining. And what he did is he stuck to the good principles and he added a little bit of fire. He put a little bit of water in the wine, or in that case, wine in the water. He got a little crazier. He went in for the clutches, and now he's doing it all. And it is such a great story for him to have another opportunity now to get that major trophy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are exactly right. Let's be honest. In Berlin, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even remotely close. No, that wasn't the grand final that we asked for. However, when we talk about the heroic side, when we look over there on this side for these players to come into a grand final, this is a big one for what is, albeit pretty young, star-studded cast.
A recurring theme here, Maniac, no?
Yes, indeed. A recurring theme, absolutely. Semifinals, and a little bit of semifinals on top of that. We had Stone on the desk yesterday, and I tried to get out of him what is the reason why they were able to push their boundaries today, and he wasn't really able to tell me. He said they got a little bit of help from different people now inside the project trying to help them get to that final step. But if we talk about journey, man, we do need to talk about the experience this guy exists.
And this is uncharted territory for Heroic, while being in a grand final, but not for Exist. Their coach, that member of that legendary NIP lineup, 5 major finals, only 1 win, but this is not a knock on Exist. It's to speak to the volume of experience that he has in this sort of an environment. And man, listen, like, it sucks to lose, but you learn more from losing, right?
It's true. Absolutely.
I'm sure in these finals there's been different things, different reasons why he's lost some of these games, and can definitely help his team and say, hey, these are some of the traps that we fell into when maybe sometimes we were too relaxed, when they were the favorites, sometimes maybe too stressed before they won their first one, and so on and so on. So I think that's going to be a great help, a great asset for Heroic, and Exist has an opportunity to become just the second player after Devilwalk who won the major both as a player and as a coach.
Oh man, the names that are getting thrown around here in this arena today, it's kind of like a venture down the history books, but in doing so, we're looking at a player that might make history today. His name is Shush, and I'm pretty sure it's Shocks with him.
Well, I'm here with Shush to get a idea of the matchup ahead. First up, What a day. How do you feel ahead of this momentous occasion?
I'm really excited. Like it's my first major final, and we've been doing really good the last 2 majors as well. So I'm just really excited to get out there and play. So.
It looks like Heroic's LAN experience, especially with the latest edition of Jabby, is just evolving very rapidly and in a good direction, I would say. How do you feel overall about how you guys have played in the server once you're in that arena?
I mean, I feel like we're pretty calm. Like everything feels a little natural now compared to before. We've been watching a lot of our games that we lost, like how can we improve and what went wrong. Especially with communication, we watched the game with communication, so it's like all the small details, like how can we improve the smallest things on the server, because that's usually where it went wrong.
So kind of the micro points, trying to adjust that. Of course, you have Exist behind you. He has major final experience. So what kind of a focus is he giving you to going into this final, rather?
I mean, it's mostly just believing in us. Like he knows that we can do this. So him being calm makes us calm as well. And also yesterday he told a little story about his major final. So I'm expecting a little story today as well before the match. While we're sitting in there, he's telling us a little story and we're listening to it.
Oh my God, I'd love to hear about that later. But I want to commend you on your own performance as well. You've had some absolutely breakout moments, some well-needed clutches. But how do you reflect on your own play, and what do you think has particularly been going well in that regard?
I mean, especially in practice, I've been clutching a lot. And there was time to time where I didn't clutch in officials as well. So it's just nice to see that everything is paying off in officials now. So I mean, I'm really confident in myself. And when I'm in those situations, 1v I just fully believe in my I don't know how to say it, but my tummy, you know, the tummy feeling, and just trust that my decision is what's gonna do the work, you know.
You look like you're flying sometimes in that server. I hope it's the same today. One word maybe about Outsiders, which will be quite a tricky matchup, right? Because they grind you out.
Yeah, I mean, we usually beat them, but I mean, they're definitely a strong team, and they have strong individual players, especially for the event. Statistically, they're doing really good, but I feel like we have the upper hand on them the most of the time. I mean, I'm excited to see how Jamie is going to perform as well, because he has a special play style, you know it, and yeah, I think we're really good at countering that.
Okay, lovely. Looking forward to it. Back to you.
Would love to hear that story. Would love to hear what Exist said, because you know he is a relatively quiet guy, but I can imagine he's got some burners of stories.
Definitely. I mean, there's loads of experience. Yeah. And some of that experience started when I was still there playing against him. So I'm sure I'm somewhere in that story. You know, when we crushed that guy, this Frenchie's
just dunking on you right there, man.
Talking
like,
shit about you on the desk. I've stomped his ass.
Yeah, ultimately, though, it does come down to the numbers, and I'm not just talking about within the confines of maps. We're talking about individual players, how it all stacks up from team to team.
Hey, we've been saying these are the 2 teams that play the best CS, and I think when you look at these stats, right, you can see how neck and neck they are. You want to pay attention to things like, you know, utility ADR, flash assist, number of traded kills, like even opening kills, round wins, like they're so close in all of these categories.
It's virtually impossible for us to pick a favorite based on these numbers. That is how neck and neck these are. Both teams have played an extremely high brand of Counter-Strike. They've played a very solid, very compact play style, high trade percentage, and that is the formula for good CS.
Yeah, you look at the certain things here. I mean, yesterday we got a glimpse at the 5v4 and the 4v5 percentages. I think that was a very interesting thing.
Look how close they are here, Trace. You know, it's like below 1% separates them in those categories. So different play styles, but both have been very efficient in this tournament.
And what we've seen yesterday as well is clutches. And clutches are going to be a determining factor in this grand final. Today, at the start, we had 3 of the 5 best clutchers of the event in this server. It's Cadian leading the way with 8, but you have James and Stone as well. So keep an eye on who actually makes these 1v2, brings these 1v3s home, and the beef, the money.
Yeah, the cash moolah, baby. Check it out. Here's what we're going to do. Eventually, we're going to get to those map vetoes. First, we're going to catch up with Norbert via Shocks. What's he got to say?
I'm here with Norbert of Outsiders ahead of the grand final. First up, Norbert, you joined back in May together with Fame, and I think a lot of people would expect Outsiders' development to take a little bit longer, but you've hit such a peak. Why do you think it's been that you've been able to develop so quickly, so well?
I think it's just because we just work a lot on bootcamp. So we joined in May. We were bootcamping together until the major, and we were working a lot to gain that experience that we don't have as the other players. So I think that's the reason, because we worked really a lot.
Speaking about experience on the biggest stages, how has it been for you just dealing with kind of this arena and everything around it?
Actually, it's feeling great, but for me, I'm staying calm and I'm just playing game. So it's just like the crowd is like bonus because they're cheering for you, and I feel this only after the game.
Well, in an interview, you were really calm as well, and you were like, just another day, tomorrow's another day. James was like, that's life. But on the cameras, I see you going crazy, so I feel like you're underplaying it a little.
Yeah, it's because, you know, it's like crazy moments. You can't keep your emotions, you just need to let them out. So that's why I'm emotional in the game, and I'm calm outside the game.
I see. Someone else who's calm for you, I hope, in the game in those moments is James. How has his calling style been specifically at this event?
You mean the sound because of the crowd?
No, James' calling and leading style in game.
He's just calling that we usually playing. There is nothing special. Just he's calling what we practice. Nothing special. Nothing like specific for the finals. Just our game.
Just as he always does. Finally, Heroic is up next. They can withstand the pressure very well. They weren't phased yesterday versus Furio. What do you think ahead of that matchup?
I don't know. That the first map for Heroic didn't go well, but on second map it was a great comeback, but Furia didn't end it. And the third map, I think Furia just didn't do anything for Heroic, and that was easy for them on third map.
So you think we may see a different Heroic today?
Yes, of course, it's grand final. It will be pressure for both teams, and the better team will win.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much and good luck.
Well, he's not wrong. It was a bit deflated after that second map, but Janko.
It was, but I really like what he said there when Shox asked him about, James calling. He said, there's nothing special. It's just everything we've done in practice. And that's where consistency comes from.
Yep.
It's just doing the same things with a little bit of flavor and switching it up time and time again. That's how players feel confident, because you're not making them do something all of a sudden at 14-14 that they haven't done before and improvising and doing stuff on the fly. It's like things that we've done that they know exactly where everyone is, how to execute, which angles to clear, right? And I love that's the case for this tournament.
Yeah, you got to practice how you play how you practice. For us, it doesn't quite matter. We didn't really practice because there's no rehearsing a veto.
There isn't anything, but what we know is that Dust 2 and Nuke will fly out the window now. When it comes to picks, I don't really think we're in a situation where we can punish. I think both teams will be relatively comfortable with their opponents.
Okay.
Pick, we have Inferno, we have Overpass, that's what I would go for. Outsiders decide for Mirage. That to me is a slight surprise. I thought there would be a different pick.
I think that's been their pick for a lot of the tournament, and they've had a lot of success on it, so I am surprised that Heroic picks Overpass, right?
No, I told you they had 3 wins this tournament.
I know,
they won a high.
I know, but they also won, they beat Outsiders, they beat them 13-2 on the CT side, right? We were saying that we don't think that's going to happen again. Heroic vetoing Vertigo out themselves, leaving it between Inferno and Asian. I think Inferno is the decider, right? Grand final of a major.
Oh, that's great.
What
you need
that's
Inferno.
what you love to see.
Yes.
I think something needs to be said, though.
Okay.
Heroic finished the game last night around 11 p.m. By the time they do all the media obligations, get to the hotel, just kind of decompress, right? It's past midnight. The game is at 3 p.m., right? So you need to so my point is you don't have a lot of time to just prepare. You want to watch a lot of the games. It's the grand final. You want to do all your prep. Coach maybe didn't even get any sleep, or the analyst, that doesn't matter. But in that sort of a situation, maybe it's just better just stick to what you think your strong maps are and focus more on yourself than spending all that time trying to anti-strat and look at Outsiders, because we also heard in the Fnatic game that they played 2-time. Outsiders just switched for the second time around, being one step ahead of the anti-strat.
I think Outsiders won that veto, quite honestly.
Okay.
The fact that they get to start on the T side of Mirage, very likely, then moving on to the CT side of Overpass, where they have already put on a clinic throughout the tournament, I think puts immense pressure on the Danes, and Outsiders have it good.
Yeah, Janko, are you buying into that right now?
I am buying into that. I feel like, just from the eye test, I've done a lot of actually Outsiders this game. I feel like in this major and the Challenger stage too, they've been pretty successful on Overpass. Yes, lost to Mouse yesterday in the semi-final, but you feel like they should have closed that out with a 14-11 lead on the CT side, right? Mirage, we've seen them play some very good games on the T side as well, right? Open up without winning pistols, still winning games comfortably. We always talk about those deep lurks on B, right? And that happening time and time again. And then Inferno as well, right? Solid performance yesterday against Mouse after dropping that overpass game. And yeah, I'm feeling very good about Outsiders' chances in this series.
And something we haven't mentioned, Mirage is a skill map. At what point in this desk are we going to talk about Fame and Flit?
Well, I
Two
mean,
of the absolute machines that I absolutely
Let's
have
do
to.
it.
In fact,
We
we have to. Listen, that's crazy.
True.
The fact that they both have such a high ratings, and Fame, out of anybody, Fame could actually be in the running for MVP. Currently, I know Jim has a little bit of a head start on him, but as a best of 3 to be played, there's a grand final. And the skill that he has displayed, the multi-kill ability he has displayed for a man of his age, and I guess lack of tenure, that's incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah, Ko, if we take the same trio that we're just talking about, we pair them up on the other side. Are we looking at?
There's none. There's no
not even comparable.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it's comparable. You have to look at KD and Stone, and then probably Yabi, or potentially Shush due to his performance kind of yesterday, especially on that third map. That clutch he had early on in the new game was, I think, the most important round of that map. But yeah, they just don't match up like firepower-wise, really. You know, it feels like that. That's where Outsiders have their number, and in a style that's so, you know, stifling, so strangulating even, you have to be able to win your fights at some point, right? In the low utility late rounds, and that's where Outsiders have the advantage.
If anything, for the Danes, what they have going for them is the floor. The floor of their team is really high. If it's supposed to be Yabi or supposed to be Shush who are the quote-unquote worst players, then I think it's a really, really high floor to be had. They have a lot of safety net. They have a lot of safe bet and values in the skill of their players.
Yeah, it's just, you know, that's just one of the many things we have to look out for. And also now James going for clutches, winning clutches, like, everything's changed. The game has changed, and ultimately we are all waiting to get into that game itself. It is one best of 3 to determine world champions here, so we go to a quick break. We know our maps. We know all the nitty-gritty. Thank you very much to my esteemed analysts. We go to that break. We come back with the grand final of a freaking major, y'all.
Outsiders. It's game time.
Heroic! Yeah, Cajun, Heroic Denmark, let's go. Heroic.
Outsider for sure. Yeah, game time. Yeah, he's gonna crush also, Heroic. Yeah.
Outsiders too. Outsiders, game time.
Outsiders, game time for sure. Game time.
Game time.
Outsiders. Game time. Game time.
Jamie, it's time! Heroic!
Heroic! Whoa!
Let's go, Heroic!
Let's
go! Let's go! Let's go, Cajun!
Heroic win.
Let's go, bro!
Let's do it! Heroic win this champions, bro! Yeah!
Time! Let's go!
Heroic, of course!
From
Cajun! Brazil loves you.
Heroic!
Let's go!
Outsiders, man! It's game time! Heroic! Let's go! Cajun is Brazil! Brazil is Cajun! Let's go!
da gente dar início à nossa grande final, eu estou aqui no palco com um representante da Excel, o Mark Winter, ele que é head de ecossistemas de jogos, e ele tem um anúncio para fazer pra gente. Mark, I think you have an announcement, right?
Bom dia, Brasil! Wow, what a setting, what an atmosphere to round out IEMRIO 2022. In my time in esports, I've never experienced anything quite this. So thank you very much for creating an atmosphere for us and for the players.
Acho que vocês entenderam, mas ele falou que ele está absolutamente impressionado com essa atmosfera aqui e que em toda a vida dele ele nunca viu algo como isso, essa loucura. Ele agradeceu bastante.
When the major was announced in 2019, they called it the Major of the People. We had to wait over 2 years to be here, but now we are here, everyone gathered in this room to share the love for the game Counter-Strike.
Esse Major tinha sido anunciado em 2019, a gente infelizmente teve que esperar 2 anos aí. Mas, por fim, a gente chegou aqui, esse momento de estar juntos, em prol desse amor pelo mesmo jogo que é o Counter-Strike.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that's made this event possible, including everyone in this room. Without you, this would not be possible.
Ele queria agradecer, aproveitar esse momento para agradecer todas as pessoas envolvidas que fizeram esse jogo acontecer, inclusive todos vocês que estão aqui, que sem vocês nada disso seria possível.
On a special day like today, it's only fitting to have something very special to share with you all.
Ele disse que ele tem algo, um anúncio para fazer para vocês aqui muito especial. Vamos ver.
And therefore, on behalf of everyone at ESL, we're excited to announce that Intel Extreme Masters is coming back to Brazil in 2023.
Vocês estão preparados para acabar com a energia, a voz e tudo mais para gritar muito em 2023, galera?
Demand, we get to see it now, Axel.
Resolve. Firepower. As the world is watching.
Finalmente estamos aqui. O fim da nossa viagem.
In Berlin, they were the bridesmaids, but couldn't find their flowers, pushed to the brink of extermination by a different and overwhelming Danish powerhouse. The opposition wouldn't let up for these pros, who actually, by definition, definition of avant-garde became villains through a slow and draining approach to the game. Then came Stockholm and Antwerp, in which their storyline would again become trampled by land-proven teams and players. From redemption to redeemer, time is in the hands of our first grand finalist, Outsiders. This grand final isn't big enough for two villains, and guess what? It's past high noon. Having been pressed, stressed, and wading through the messed harshness of being looked down upon by the onlookers and chirpers alike. Cadian took this team from online and home to the frontline trenches under his leadership these days.
Não consegui decidir. Me ajudem a decidir. Vamos lá. Outsiders! Heroic! Não sei vocês, mas para mim foi impossível decidir. Vamos deixar que eles decidam. Que comecem os jogos!
Outsiders, you just can't underestimate them. You have to fight for everything.
I don't even think James realizes he can actually save. He probably feels like there's presence in the B-bomb site, but the clutch is on.
He picks up that one. Oh no! Out of this world! James! Are you kidding me?
The way that Outsiders plays forces their opponents to kind of come into their world and adapt to their play style and play the game on their terms.
Outsiders tested again and again by Mousesports, but they have proven indestructible.
Just slinking away. And back to touch! Shush! Outstanding against Furia!
Just silenced the entire arena right there with that play.
One thing that's been really special about Heroic in this major is through this playoff run, you've seen them start to get more comfortable within themselves, and it feels like they no longer entirely rely on Cadian. And then you also add in the fact that just all the pieces seem to be gelling, and that seems to have activated a lot of their players and a lot of their guys to be very, very powerful.
One of Furia separate from the pack. Cadian! Oh, Cadian finds three!
And he's played this open angle, taking down Exertion. Frozen's on the other side, and Dave, he will steal it away from them.
Outsiders versus Heroic, your eyes do not deceive you. This is a major grand final, best of three. Just to remind you where we are, we're all the way down here in Rio de Janeiro. We're about ready to jump off from the Mirage. An overpass guaranteed, and if we need it, we go to the ever-coveted third map of Inferno, only fitting in a grand final, of course. And joining me here on the desk will be Maniac and YNK. Guys, we have to talk about Mirage right out of the gate. Obviously one of the most balanced maps in the game, but where does your hat lie, Yanko?
Outsiders, man. I had them, from the start all the way. I think the one thing, when you look at playing against them and their style is like they're so good with the economy, it's actually a must almost for you to win the pistols,
yes.
right? Or at least win one of the pistols, because if they get the pistols and get that initial boost to their economy to kick things off, it's going to be a nightmare to play against them.
The first few rounds of a grand final here at the major are so important for you to immediately get into the mindset that you want to be in, to get into that flow state that we talk about so much at the desk. You're never going to have the chance again. You're never going to replay the pistol round again. This is your one time, your one opportunity. It's a clash of style, Trace. It's Cadian, it's James, it's unstoppable force meets immovable object.
Yeah, and they say sometimes the best defense is offense or something vice versa. Truth be told, in this moment, Yanko, getting out in front of the rolling ball is probably the most important thing you can do. And if that means winning pistol rounds, that means winning pistol rounds.
Yeah, and we've seen, Outsiders win in a number of different ways. We've seen them come back into games. We've seen them, just edge out in close games. We see them stomp opponents as well, right? They have multiple ways to win. I feel like they're the better team, and they have more things ironed out at this moment in time. But Heroic and the emotion with which they play, it's similar to Furia in a sense of if they do catch fire, if they do get hot, if they find that hot hand, if Cadian gets in the zone, right, with his reads, with his gambles and whatnot, and wins a couple of crucial rounds that way, that's a way in for Heroic.
Look, how do we know all of these players are about to show up and play their best Counter-Strike? Why do we think it's a given that you just show up on the stage and play the best? You have the double F for Outsiders, the fame and flit. We just take it for granted. We thought we're going to show up here, they're going to display the absolute best. Hell, that's something that you have to prove.
It's true.
Standby.
But I think the scene is set perfectly for everyone to just come in and play, right? You've made it to the final, like the pressure is not as big. The crowd is there, it's going to be loud, it's going to be great, but not insanely loud like when you play against Furia, and it's just going to come down to who executes better. As we always say, it's a cliche, but those couple of crucial rounds in every Counter-Strike map that decide who wins or loses, who has more poise, who is more calm in those situations is the team that's going to come out on top.
And when we talk about a game being a marathon, then let me make it very clear for you. A grand final is time exponential 10, because you spend so much energy, mentally speaking, and it is so draining to be living these moments, the high highs and the low lows. That is the bread and butter of Outsiders, because they know how to run on just pretty much cruising altitude, autopilot, having a good time, you know, using the energy when they have to. That is going to be a challenge for Heroic to be able to maintain that.
And losing one round here or not converting there, Yenko, that can be devastating.
Absolutely, but I want one thing, Trace.
What's that?
What I want for this final is I want these teams to stay true to themselves and their identity. I don't want all of a sudden to see Outsiders, you know, go for 3v4 retakes because, you know, they feel pressure that the game is slipping out of their hands. I don't want Heroic to sort of freeze and see them as flusters as they were in moments in that Furia game yesterday, right? If we can avoid that from happening, we're going to have a really, really good final here.
Yeah, and I mean, just moments away from getting that going. Obviously, one side of the stage, not necessarily like the other, in multiple different ways. We talk about stylistic playoffs or stylistic matchups here in plays, and I think this is a good inverse of each other.
Yeah, to bring it on to Mirage itself, right? We've been talking about it in almost every Outsiders game, I feel like, right? Yes, it's default. They sprinkle in a bit of, you know, remember the Fnatic game, the one in the quarterfinal? There was a B rush in there. There was a fast, like, kind of A default that was almost an A pop in the middle of the half. So at that point, you played a little bit slow. You've done a couple of fast rounds. What does that do to your opponent? Well, if your opponent's playing slow, you tell your teammates, hey, let's save nades a little bit. Let's wait so we can counter them in the late round. If they're playing fast, you're going to say, guys, you use your nades early. Let's not keep losing, you know, to these fast plays. Let's play a little bit more cohesive, right? But if they're doing both and beating you, what do you do, right? Like you have to make a decision. That's where Outsiders, that's where James gets to be one step ahead of you.
And when Yenko is talking about teams staying true to their identity, it is the department of the game that we have to keep an eye on. It's information gathering. Okay. It's going to be key in here. Because what do you expect from Heroic? You expect them to push on the CT side, grab information. But Outsiders, they're patient. They're waiting for you. Come, please. Here, follow the crumb, little mouse. Come here to me. I'm just waiting there. I have all 40 seconds to play this round, but you feel like you need to get information because that's the DNA of Heroic. And this right here is going to be a microcosm of conflict for these two teams.
And that is also the DNA of Heroic, aggression on the CT side. We used to talk about them a year and a half ago. A team that gets 1-for-1 trade on the CT side, they're happy with that. You know, we always say that's a disadvantage for the CTs. They have to cover more ground with less players. But as long as they're the one dictating the pace, making the plays, getting the information, they're fine with that. So I do expect them, for example, I think the way to go against Outsider here, if you're playing the CT side, is you go for mid fights early, right? You deny them that mid control early. The problem is you need to find like the pace to do it. Yes. You go like for an instant flash play through the connector smoke, right? Turn off the molly, flash comes in, you swing, or you kind of wait for them to catch them as, you know, Fane is coming up from underground. Like that's the mind games, like that's the chess game that we have in this game. Because if you just fall back or if you focus on the sides, they're really good at punishing that aggression. Like the T-side anchors on the sides are really good at that. James, it's almost like he knows when to go B with the op and just wait for that boost up or the push into B apartment.
And in doing so, we talk about taking extremities of the map. For the newer viewer at home, Maniac, if you wouldn't mind, kind of explaining what that means when we talk about extremities, mid, but moreover the control of those areas. How pivotal is that to controlling a map and dictating the fights?
Well, I think that Counter-Strike in itself has evolved in an impressive ways in the last few years, Trace, because for the viewers that are a little bit new, there used to be a time where a team on the T side would basically send a group of 4 people trying to grab some map control, and you'd have one lurker, let's call him the Rat for the purpose of the explanation. He'd be on the side.
Or get tried.
I mean, there we go. That's out there. The shots have been fired.
Well, no, because that was the 4-1, the initial NIP 4-1. Let's just do something.
That.
Get right lurks, get 3 kills, we win the round.
Or the warded 4-1 is the bomb out the door and the 4 others go out the other way.
And now this was the baseline Counter-Strike trace. But now we've evolved completely. We've changed the parameter. We've changed the paradigm, even if you allow me to.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Shifted the paradigm. I cannot believe
and I have no shame.
The terminus is here.
The key, please. The key now for the CT side is to be able to decipher what the hell is going on, because the signals are being mixed. You don't really know. Teams have become really good at masking their intentions and masking how many players are taking what part of the map. You hear a couple of flashes, you say, oh, it's probably just one guy taking information. Boom. Joke's on you. Surprise. There's 4 people in front of you, or the other way around.
But Yanko, just in that same sort of evolution of the game, we're talking about multi-layered approaches here. Not just simply telegraphing, but, hey, a smoke on this side of the map, well, maybe they're already looking at what they normally do on the other side of the map. You know, it's a complete mind game in that regard.
Here's the thing, Trace. Like, these teams have become so good at the game and kind of understanding the fundamentals, the basics, and what, you know, this combination of smokes most probably means. Now the point is you have to disguise what you want to do, right? So what you're trying to do basically on Mirage, you're trying to maybe throw the mid smokes and just have enough presence and throw enough utility that, for example, to Heroic, it looks like, this is the default. They have 2 guys top mid, 1 guy underground. Let's just go flash play, guy peek out cat, or double swing cat, or double swing connector, and let's go for the fight. And that's the exact time that you're faking it, and you just have like 2 guys walk out apps, A apps, 2 guys walk out slope. You have like a 3v1 there or a 4v1. You get the trade, you smoke off jungle after that, or smoke off top con, molly jungle, right? And that's how you take the side. So it's all about getting the reads and like those small minutia, you know, the details. How do you figure that stuff out?
And Yanko is talking about reads. People have to understand at home, the grand final of the major is the most prepared game that any team will ever go through. The amount of research that has to be put in it. You need to know all the single details of the opponent. But it also means that if you're able to throw a spanner in the works earlier on, you might just throw everybody off on a wild turn, a wild loop, because what if your preparation just turns out to be wrong? After first one, say, guys, they're not doing what you prepared.
Yeah, and you know, Yanko, you brought this up yesterday, and it was a fantastic idea. If you're the side of Heroic, you had just a few less hours than, say, Outsiders. Hell, call up Kerrigan, call up everybody in Denmark, bring all the boys together, let's get all the homework going at one time.
Let's just send a voice message, starts with the Danish anthem. Your country needs you.
We need you now.
Watch a couple of demos of this map. No, but listen, that might even turn out to play out in their favor, right? Because there's a thing called paralysis by analysis, right? If you dig in too deep into these details, you're sort of like overwhelm your players with information, and you find yourself in a situation, I'm sure you've been in these ones maybe, where you have your guy saying in freeze time, watch out for B rush, A rush, mid default, double fake. It's
so
like,
everything.
Dude, so everything. It's like, you know, like if you're telling me that in preparation, you're not telling me anything. You're just like overwhelming me with needless information.
And that is what we like to talk about when we refer to being ready to put on the best show in the grand final. Being able to deal with that situation. You or James have one of the long-lasting relationship with his coach, of course, with Dastan. They've been together for so long. I'm sure they've learned how to work together, how to kind of prehash that information. You know, what is it that you need? We have talked about the arc of Jane, not only as a leader but as a player, finding his footage again individually. What does that mean? Dastan maybe taking a bit more work with the other, you know, the Turtle Ninja work with his walking around with his
Master Splinter.
That's what he's doing right now, exactly. So Jane can focus on his game and be an MVP potential right now.
And also that semi-final game against against Mouse yesterday, right? I think for this final, you know, that they won that game, the overpass loss is a good thing for them. It was a bit of a wake-up call, right?
Surprise.
Because we do say Outsiders the hardest team to put away in Counter-Strike, but it seems like they're also not amazing at closing out games themselves sometimes, right? So that was, I think that was definitely, feel like the emotional high of Jane winning a 1v3. You're up 14-11, right? On CT side of overpass, one of your best maps is just going to happen on its own, and it doesn't. And you need an element of mental fortitude, psychological strength to still be, you know, level-headed coming into the third map, and they put on a clinic there. So I think that really helps coming into this one to always know until we hit that 16, we can't relax, we can't take anything for granted.
And play till the whistle's blown, essentially, you know, and to put it in like a traditional sports terminology, Maniac.
No, you're completely right. And sometimes you don't get the luxury of having such a warning sign and then you actually bounce back. I'm looking at the list of teams that Outsiders had to face up until that point, and I think you can make the argument Heroic had a harder road to the grand final. We're talking for the likes of Outsiders beating Mao, Mouse, meaning Fnatic, Mouse again. In comparison to the likes of Cloud9, Furia at home, mind you, Spirit as well. I think Heroic had a harder path to being here. But here's what's great about Counter-Strike. It doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter what you think.
And this is interesting for me because, you know, I like to say in playoff games when we do Cologne or Katowice or whatever, you know, I like to go with a team that has like the best player, like the star player, or, you know, like FaZe over Cloud9. I'm going for FaZe because FaZe has the experience. Didn't really work out.
No, that is,
you know,
yikes.
but here's the thing, in this game there's not really that sort of a pick. I mean, you could maybe make a case for Jame with the way he's been playing in this tournament and that he's been around for a longer time, but there's no like clear superstar. There's no Simple, there's no Zywood, there's no Nico, right, in this sort of a series, no Device and so on. So it's just like two teams. You mentioned the floor for Heroic. I think one of Outsiders' strength is their floor is really high. You know, they're a fist, they're a unit, 5 players working together. Everyone needs to contribute in their style because you're constantly adapting to what Jame thinks is the weakness of your opponent. Sometimes you have to enter. Norbert had a sick T-side on Ancient against Mouse yesterday, right? In other games, it's maybe Flit or Fame, so it all depends. Everyone has to come ready to play, and hopefully that happens for them today.
Look, you're not wrong, but that statement kind of precludes the idea that Kicker is actually going to start playing Counter-Strike, because he has been extremely limited throughout the tournament. But we talked with Dastan, actually, one of these media days, we had a conversation, and he said, listen, it doesn't matter where Kicker is actually in the tournament right now, because I know that when the times come and someone has to make the difference, someone has to take the risk, Kicker will actually do it. Now, we've had the talk, it's time to walk the walk here in the Grand Final.
Remember the round against Mouse on Ancient, where it's like a trade, they trade, I think Outsiders are in a 3v4 at that point, or 2v3, and he pushes on the CT side, he pushes through the smoke in CT, swings behind site, and gets two kills with the AK with the spray down. That's like a BDP, man. That's like, I'm feeling confident, I'm just gonna push through the smoke, swing, because if I wait here and play too passive, they've got the round, they can position themselves, and it's over.
And you know, we like educating the newer viewers, and I think it's only fitting, Maniac, did you explain what a BDP is?
Basically, it's what we call the burning deep water, is when you commit to a play, and you got to burn your toes. You got to burn your toes because it's too deep of a play. That's what it is.
And it has to be said, like, yes, Kickert is the lowest performer for Outsiders in this tournament, but still an 0.95 rating. Like, that's not horrendous. It's not great, but it's not horrendous. And, you know, with how well Jame, Flit, and Fame have been playing, right, like, that's fine. I feel like if he plays on that level, like 0.5, 1 rating, as long as he's not a liability, and it's important to not be one because he's the anchor on a lot of spots, I feel like that's going to be fine. Outsiders are going to be fine.
Now, for the side of Heroic, we saw yesterday they endured a little bit of hardship there against a double op setup on the CT side. I don't think they're going to run into that same problem today, Maniac. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair. I'd be surprised to see Outsiders yield that double AWP, although Jame is kind of a bit tricky to find where it is. But there is something that Outsiders have over Heroic, if you allow me quickly, is that.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the side of Heroic, none of them know what it is to lose a Grand Final at the Major. In fact, this unknown is terrifying. They're probably terrified of the idea of losing a Grand Final. Jame and Kicker both know what it is. They've had a Grand Final when they got stomped on, they couldn't even play their game, and they bounced back and they're here. And I guarantee you, as a player, you feel differently about the situation. Because what was it that was your worst nightmare? You actually known, you've actually faced, you've survived it, hell, you're back at it.
But I do believe, I don't know which one of you said it, that it feels like vindicating for them to be back, because they absolutely were not ready. It was Maniac, you know, in that Berlin Grand Final. I think that was a David versus Goliath game trace, right? But now it's been, you know, a couple of years. They've gotten better. They've figured things out. You go on and you learn, right, over time. You don't even know why you're losing some games until you actually lose them, and you watch back and you see how teams are out playing, and you're getting like a little bit from this team, a little bit from this game, a little bit from that, and you're like putting everything together to become what you are now, which is a really freaking good Counter-Strike team. But another point that you said is like, this is actually that I haven't really thought about this. It's like Outsiders don't really have a secondary opper. You know, when you look at it, like, I don't even know, maybe Flit has taken it up a couple of times on a map like that, CT side, right? Like, but they don't really have anyone who likes doing it to the extent where Heroic, or especially on a map like Mirage, Stone on the secondary op can be a menace.
Yeah, and Ston menacing in his own ways when he comes to the server. He came to life yesterday. And then obviously we talk about what it takes for both sides. That double op not there, but the op is still consistent in the hands of Jame, for the most part. Then you look at Cadian on the other side. If we talk about op v op, and in terms of its impact, it's there. It goes without saying, Maniac. But what are you expecting? What are you anticipating?
I'll definitely be key players. Now, I will say the man that we have on our screen right here, Cadian, his style is probably the hardest to put in motion once you're faced with the pressure of a grand final, because he's got a very proactive, a very risky, very explosive side where you can get absolutely shut down. I think that James, with his position in the play style and his reads, might have a bit more opportunities to just slowly warm up, get to this. You be in the right position, you clip that guy's shoulder, you have a good crosser placement, you warm it up. But Kenyan, he could just go missing.
And Heroic's results speak volumes to that as well. He's been great. He's been tremendous in their wins, but it's when he's gone missing is in their losses. So the correlation is really there. And I think, of course, very aggressive and has to do that. But if it doesn't work out, then it can become a problem for
Pager Kerrigan. That's Kerrigan. That's the voicemail from Kerrigan.
That is. Oh, look, Coldzera's in the crowd, but obviously, not Kerrigan, channeled vicariously through Cadian, Danish, of course. Just getting the crowd hyped up here. We are a few moments away, I'm being told. Just a few things to settle. And until then, we're trying to settle some of the dust between the two teams. Again, we talked about it. It's not a clear-cut game, Yanko.
Just let me know, Trace, you know, if things are really getting messed up, I can just run over there and fix the tech issue for you.
Oh, well, I don't know that we can. In all of our infinite wisdom and powers, I don't know that this is one that we can fix. Unfortunately for you and me. And
it's better for them if I don't go there and try anything.
Yeah, speaking of the people watching at home, now would be the time that I'll tell you use that hashtag. You know what it is, hashtag IEM. IEM short for the Intel Extreme Masters. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this is the major grand final, a best of 3, and it all comes down to this. We started with 24 teams. We are left with just 2 in the Outsiders and Heroic, representing 2 totally different parts of the world.
Trace, think about it. I'm going to throw in the loop.
What you got?
Let's address the elephant in the room. There's obviously a bit of a delay right now. There's a bit of technical issue. We don't like to talk about it, but we should.
Okay.
Here's the thing. As a player, how do you handle this?
Oh, dude, the anticipation, the nerves.
You have been walking in through that path. You had this crazy video. People are cheering for you. You're walking up to the stage. You're ready to get settled. And then suddenly, you cannot. So all of the works that they have pre-done before, you know, they can do imagination, they can visualization. There's a bunch of exercise you can do psychologically. All that goes down the drain. You have to come back to your own protocols, because now you've been stewing and waiting. And that in itself is also one of the challenges of being a player. It comes with the territory.
Yeah, it's one thing to jump in the server and play. It's another thing to have the adrenaline sort of subside or wear off. That's when the shakiness comes in. That's when you find out, hey, you know what? The body is being tested right now in this moment. People say, oh, it's a video game. No, homie. This is real life, Yanko.
Yeah, I think, you know, personally, I've always hated it because, you know, you've done everything you could. You've done your prep. You've briefed the team. The players have, you know, done everything they could, and now you just want to get on with it, right? You just want to get the game started, and at some point, even the running around and warming up, shooting each other becomes redundant too.
Detrimental.
So hopefully we can get it sorted soon. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know, if you're on the team, what you're saying is, hey, we just have to deal with it. It's the same for them like it is for us, right? Let's not let this bring us down. Let's keep the energy high. You know, at the moment, you let people chill a little bit. You know, you don't let anyone get too complacent or anything along those lines, but you want like to have an extra 2-3 minutes when they tell you that everything's ready to kind of hype yourself back up and get yourself in the zone.
So I'll just keep this short, sweet, simple, to the point. Here's what's actually going on. If you take note of the stage right now, okay, you see how there's the little barrier, the little wall there behind Heroic, and it's like, oh, you can't see past that. You can't see the opponent's team being flashed from across the entire stage. Well, if you'll notice, there is only one wall up. And it turns out that's what we're waiting on. So,
so the outsider protection isn't up quite yet. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking over my shoulder just constantly like, is this thing going up? Is it not going up? We're going to play the map. We're not going to play the map. But that is actually what we're waiting on. So, yeah, if you look on your screen right now, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. People all over the place just trying to fix it. And that does keep us going.
It's a really basic concept. Basically, that wall wasn't here. Right? You throw a flash. You just have to look up on your monitor. You see 4 people being flashed. You have information. That's why that wall is here.
I remember the good old days of you know, LAN tournaments in Belgrade face-to-face, right? And you have to type out your calls because it's so quiet.
Fake the comm.
It's so quiet that, you know, you can't say, or you fake the comm, or you just look at your opponent and look, if they're typing a lot on the keyboard, that means they're buying.
Oh, no.
If not, that means they're equal. So there were plenty of mind games back in the day when we were still in basements.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a bit of a change of pace.
It is.
Change of scenery.
It's a throwback.
You know, but it all, you know, kind of comes to this, right? Like, this is why we have these things now. Back then, obviously, we're talking about playing in the basement, slightly different parameters and all things considered. A lot less money on the line, I'll tell you that much, Yanko.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But there's a player on that stage who could know all about it. Caden actually played the first major in Counter-Strike. And let me tell you this, first major of Counter-Strike, we were sitting on, you know, these gymnasium chairs. It was probably -5 degrees, and we have here a roll coming on. I thought that was going to be great. It was cold as hell, first major, man. We didn't have all the luxury that they have now.
Makes sense the guy was wearing a G2 jersey, so he's not going to win anything.
Yeah, you should have known better before you started opening cases.
Is coming.
What? Should we break it? Are we breaking the news right there? Got a little interference. Yeah, it is kind of interesting to watch these people scramble on the stage. I have to give it to him at this point in time. But you're right. Cadian in his path isn't really something that we've touched entirely upon, but the truth is the guy's been here on the desk. There was a moment where he said, you know what, screw it. I'm not playing anymore. Hell, screw it. I'm going to go play in NA. And now you're in the major grand final.
I mean,
Pretty cool.
He played at the first major at the end of 2013, and a year and a half later in Cologne in 2015, he was on the desk.
Yeah.
And then he came back to play. He went to NA a little bit and finally found his way again in the Danish scene with the Danish team. And, you know, I think it's a great sort of an arc, albeit there's a very big stain on his career, in my opinion, with the whole coaching bug scandal.
Definitely.
I think that's going to, you know...
Yeah. I thought he was going to say it when I played with Cadian. That's a big stain in his resume.
But
he went rogue, let's put it that way.
If you ignore that, then yes, it's like a great story of him sort of just kind of finding himself again and becoming a tremendous leader in a sense of, you know, motivating his team and keeping the team together, a tight group, and, you know, leading them to a major final ultimately.
I mean, again, we talked about Jane being a villain for a little bit, but Cadian definitely got under that microscope just a little.
Well, definitely.
Well, yeah, and also the game yesterday, obviously. But how about this? Remember, you know, the COVID times, and it was Heroic and Gambit at the time who rose like to the top, and we were looking at when we go back to LAN, who's going to like step up, who's going to actually, can they do it on LAN? And I think a lot of people were giving an edge to Cloud9. You know, they were going to be able to do that, but as time goes by, we see that actually Heroic might become a team that's, you know, the better of the two when it comes to LAN
It's actually
play.
a surprise, because I think a lot of us, maybe some even people on this very desk, thought that that would never happen. We thought that that was it. We thought Heroic, in many different occasions, showcased, you know, liability, weaknesses, maybe mental frail just a little bit in these games, which is why their run, Cadian's run with his boys, there is actually Heroic, literally. The fact that they were able to defeat the entire arena yesterday, survive the comeback against Furia, now being the grand final. We have to talk about the resilience that you needed to be able to accomplish that, because after map 1, I sold their asses. I sold all my stock. I just shorted all of it. I said, listen, I'm out. I quit that boat immediately. And I was wrong. I was terribly wrong.
Man, not many times do I hear my colleagues up here say, man, I was wrong.
Now, we don't do that
we were
usually.
all wrong in this regard. Yanko got the bronze or wooden coin. I'm working on the golden one.
I asked the devs last time, can you guys please like introduce a wooden coin for someone who doesn't get anything right ever?
How did that go?
But also a platinum coin for people who get, you know, the brackets right.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, like skip the group side. Yeah, of course. Still waiting on this game to start. So if you are just joining us, yes, there is a little bit of a delay. Should you have not have noticed that by now, that is what we are waiting on. And ultimately, yeah, guys, the pick'ems haven't gone well for any of us. That's just the case.
We've been having a good conversation. Why do you need to mention the pick'ems at this point?
Well, I mean, we were going down the path. We were going down the path of Heroic and some of the things that happened to them, and I can tell you that's a dark one, man.
I mean, listen, we can circle back to the situation here at the major. The favorites have screwed the pooch. That's what they've done.
Absolutely.
FaZe didn't even touch the playoffs. Hell,
G2 didn't even make it the flight.
G2 missed the flight. Strice wasn't here either. FaZe missed it. Now we lost in quarterfinal. So yeah, you could look at the playoff bracket and say, that's an easy grand final title to get. Hell no. Well, all these teams are outsiders and Heroic responsible for the other teams not showing up. Absolutely not. It's how Counter-Strike works. It's how Counter-Strike works. It's how strong you are on the day, let's say the weekend or the week max. And these two teams were the best on that week. Hell, they even defeated the crowd, for Christ's sake, for Heroic. What else are they supposed to do that would give them legitimacy in their run?
Yeah, there's entirely too much to grab onto in that small regard, Maniac. And truth is that it is all there for the taking. We talk about any given day these teams can beat each other, but that's just simply not the case.
No.
However, I look at this matchup, and it really does look 50-50 in a lot of different ways.
I mean, listen, this is the best opportunity that either of these teams will probably have to win a major. And this is why this makes this moment so honorable and so crazy to witness, so mad to witness, because that is a golden opportunity.
Yeah, golden opportunity for us to jump over to the telestrator, which is it does look like we will be doing right now. So Yanko, are you down there?
Thank you so much, Trace. Thank you so much, Trace. We're gonna like spice it up here a little bit. This is from the Heroic Furia game yesterday. We talked about it. We talked about how Heroic basically were flustered in some of the rounds, right? So 3-3 round, you're gonna see them. They're gonna go for a sort of a mid pop. They're gonna get good trades here. They're gonna get 2 entry kills, right? Get a kill on Serato. Now it's gonna come a second kill on Safe, right? But what happens is Yuri gets a kill in Apps. Now look at the minimap here, basically, right? So you can see where all the players are. This is the last A player for Furia, so this is where kind of it becomes confusing for Heroic. Instead of just speeding up short, just maybe smoking this off, just coming together as a group, right? And focusing on this player just on that one side. They're going to stop for some reason. They're going to slow down. You're going to see mollies flying in towards the pit area. That buys time. Again, if you look at this player, this is Art with the AWP, right? So he's going to have time. He even moved initially towards long. He's going to come back all the way, help Yuri out. He has a smoke and a flash as well. And look how slow this is, how hesitant this is from the side of Heroic, right? Like this killed them absolutely in this round. And there were a couple of rounds in that game yesterday where they were flustered. Now, obviously, this is the first map of that series. You can attribute that to the crowd. You wouldn't expect this to happen this time around, Maniac.
Yes, indeed. Right, Janko. That is how Heroic looks like when the fine precisely in the watch isn't really working. You know, sometimes we talk about a cog. That's exactly how it can look like when Cadian makes a decision in 2 seconds instead of a half a second. That is the difference. This is literally what it comes down to when it comes to Counter-Strike. You get a kill, and just for half a second you doubt, you second guess yourself. Should we push, should we not? And then you pick in between, and you lose the round. We say Heroic is a team, that plays with pace. They plays with rhythm. If they miss that rhythm, it can look foolish the way Janko just displayed it.
And that's all in a split second right there, Janko.
Yeah, it's like a second. It's just, this is like, we've had this situation many times. You just say, like, basically, let's speed up. That's what you say in that sort of a situation. Or someone will say, that's a third A player, right? Let's just go. Like, all you need to trade, even if he kills 2 and you kill him, like you have a 2v2 with the bomb down and you still have time to position yourself before the rotation comes in.
Now, check out the innovation on the stage. We're going to let Maniac commentate this one solo.
What is happening?
It does look like a sort of makeshift answer. Yeah,
it's do-it-yourself solution.
Yes,
that's what
DIY by Maniac.
DIY. Yeah, listen, I think in French we say I have 2 left hands when it comes to that. I wouldn't be able to fix that.
Serbia too. Hey.
We did that. There we go.
Yeah.
2 left hands sounds miserable. Shout out to left-handed people. But
what do you say in English? What's the idiom?
Foot in the mouth. I don't know. Like at this point, like truly, I get it. I understand. 2 left hands isn't fun for anyone. You got to buy like 2 pairs of gloves rather than just 1. Like, come on, man.
That really sounds cumbersome.
Yeah,
Not
it is a bit cumbersome. Speaking of which, that is what we find ourselves in, a tech pause before the tech even got into the game itself. That's just a new one on me, but it does look like they have a solution, which ultimately leads us into the matchup at hand. Again, just to remind the people at home, we do look at our maps in this grand final. And truth be told, we're looking at Mirage, Overpass, and Inferno at this rate, should we need it. Better yet, will we need it, Janko?
I hope we do.
You hope to, for the sake of the final, right, and the matchup and the extremely good CS the teams have been playing, you want to get as much of it as you possibly can, right? But I really feel like Outsiders can close this out 2-0. I feel like they're more diverse than Heroic, like they played against different sort of styles. I feel that game we've seen in the Legend stage was an outlier, right? Like their T side was extremely weak. I don't expect that to happen this time around. Like it just feels like a coming of age for this team and for James as an in-game leader, like that everything's coming together in this moment for them.
And there's a tremendous difference when it comes to that Overpass. The obvious, I guess, elephant in the room is the fact that Outsiders were starting on a CT side in that occasion. They're not going to break their teeth against the defense. No, they're going to be on the defense. It's going to be up to Cadian to figure out solutions. So I wouldn't take this first game in the Legend as a reference. In fact, the roles are completely swapped.
And you know, the meta of the game itself does shift, change. You know, we've been talking about the A1S until we're blue in the face. Honestly, though, from a noob perspective, let's say we've got a few noobs tuning in with the 200,000+ people watching on Twitch right now. Tell them what it means to play within the CT and the T side, the offense and defense, basically.
What we currently have with the meta and the Silencer beast on Strong is that the multi-kill ability for the CTs is ridiculous, right?
Okay.
Because you don't really get a lot of audio cue as to where your opponent is standing, and because of how strong the weapon is, it's very potent. It's very easy for a CT to get a double kill. The trade is a little bit cumbersome. You don't exactly know what the hell is going on. If you have the advantage, that's it. But I will say, Trace, because I've had enough of this CT talk. I've really had enough.
Have you?
It's crazy how actually good teams can muster up good T sides. It's almost as if you play good Counter-Strike, you can find solutions on the T side. And maybe you're just hiding behind the meta because you ain't got no idea how to play.
And if you're Team Brazil, you came in here with full executes over in the show match on trains on the T side.
You think they're going to lose in front of their own
of course
crowd,
not.
Trace? Like that, they're never going to let that happen. But yeah, I think as well for a team like Outsider. And the problem with teams having bad T sides is they're not taking the space that's given to them most of the time, right? Like they either have an idea of how they like to play, but sometimes it's like, oh, before we take this part of the map, we need to throw this flash and this smoke and this molly, right? But sometimes it's just they're doing something else on the map, right? So at that point, just take the opposite side, right? It's free, like just take it, and then that applies pressure. Just losing some map control if you're on the CT side, you have to use utility, right? You have to buy time for the rotates to come in, and utility usage is not just about the damage, it's when you use your smokes. What Outsiders do so well, which is like one of the details in the game, is let's say you want to do a mid-round clear of banana as CT, right? What do you do then? Once you're doing the flash play in the mid-round, that's when your A player smokes apps, or that's when you smoke mid if you have a mid setup. Why? Because the utility you throw on B to clear it, it's an obvious sign for the Ts that you're clearing B, and usually people bring an extra player, right, in order to do that. So their reaction might be, you know, teams like Fnatic used to play like this. If you think they're doing that, let's just group up as fast as we can, hit the other side, because we have strength in numbers, right? So if they do that, they have to go through a smoke, which gives you, you know, probably you can get 2 kills instead of 1. You can get a kill and buy time. You can buy time for the rotate to come in, for your players who cleared banana to push behind them. And that's like the level of team play that's next level. You just don't look at what's going on in your sector of the map, right? You're paying attention to what you're trying to accomplish as a team in that round, in that moment, and that's why you see Outsiders, you know, we saw it in the Ancient game yesterday, the utility, they block like Mouse, and Mouse has to stop. They have good timing, but the smoke blocks them, and by the time that smoke clears, there's 2 more players waiting for them to pounce.
So Maniac, is it as simple as saying that yes, you lose some ground on this side of the map, on any given map, but you look to take ground on the other side of the map? Is it a bit of a seesaw effect?
It has to be a give and take, unless you're setting a trap and you want your opponent to step in it. I think one of the greatest skill in Counter-Strike is the ability to take different kind of stimuli, different kind of information, and piece together a picture. And this is where teams actually truly shine, and this is where they all play their opponents, because they're being given information here and there. It could be the smokes Yenko is talking about, it could be the flashes, but then the name of the game, the war of attrition, is to have your opponent paint a fake picture. And if you can't, how do you find that? You get information. You have it out. You hear a couple of flashes. You ask for a teammate to flash for you. You just sneak in. You see nobody. Then you know, and you're piecing it together. And this is why we talk about teams being too passive, and that's a risk. Because when you play too passive, you basically accept that you're never going to peek behind the curtain. You're taking all information at face value, and you don't know what's behind it. And it puts a lot of pressure on individuals.
We had this issue in FaZe for a little while. Like, we lost some games on Mirage and CT side. Like, we have good moves, and we're in a 5v4. And like, I'm standing behind the team, you know, I can't speak obviously in the tournament area, and I'm like, we're feeling uncomfortable, and we have a man up because we're playing like passive, we're playing to the advantage, we're playing so passive, we're giving them too much space that we're actually in a bad position being a man up. So yes, you like want to play the numbers and the advantages, but you have to be careful about how much space you give to your opponents. How many times have you seen a 3v5 T side B execute on Inferno
and
works? Because they're playing coils and CT, and they get behind the execute, behind the smokes, right? And then just a post plant, all per new boxes, and they win the round.
So let's bring it back full circle. Now that we've kind of broken this down and explained it to you Barney style in a way that we can all understand. Thank you very much for that, gentlemen. We got the Crayolas out. We really got it done there for just a few seconds. Yes, there was a bit of a tech delay, a bit of a stage malfunction, if you would. But then we go on. I bring it back full circle to what is the grand finals of the Intel Extreme Masters Rio Major. It does bring us to Heroic Outsiders with Mirage first, Overpass second, and again, Inferno third should we need it. Only a best of 3. You only got to win 2 maps in a best of 3, because guess what? That's how it works. In doing so, Maniac, has anything changed in the past 15 to 20 minutes in your mind?
No, it hasn't. I had Outsiders when we started this pre-show. The video hasn't changed. I'm still sticking it. I don't think it has changed. Does anything change in your mind?
A couple things over the course of the time. Yeah, no, but really, you got a point, buddy.
Yeah, most definitely. I think, as I said, Outsiders are the better all-around team. Their individuals have been playing better. Yes, you can argue that the stats are maybe a little bit skewed because Heroic on paper faced potentially some tougher oppositions, but I think just it doesn't matter with the way Outsiders have been playing. They really look like they're playing with confidence, but not overconfidence, right? And that's an extremely powerful position to be in as a team, and that's why I think they're going to win this grand final.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just right there for the taking, sort of. Like, it is right there for the taking. Ultimately, out there somewhere amidst this gigantic arena, we do have James Banks, who is probably interviewing somebody. Who you got, James?
Oh yes, I'm down here with the crowd as we're waiting for this game to get started. And I found a man here, you had a nice experience in how you got your heroic jersey. So how did that happen? Explain the story, mate. You've been here since the first stages, you've come all the way through.
Yeah, you know, I got here like on the Legends Day, like a common Legends Day, and like the moment I arrived, Donna from One Pixel found me. He said, oh, I know this guy, I know this guy. Then she interviewed me for like, I don't know, she asked some questions about CS, and then the person who answered the 3 questions right will win a free jersey. And I got the heroic jersey, and just after the game, Liquid versus Heroic, I got all the heroic team to sign it. It was an amazing moment. Like, I talked to everybody on the team. They're great guys. I'm cheering a lot for them today. It's going to be amazing.
Now, I've got a serious question. Were you a heroic fan before they gave you the shirt?
Yeah. I mean, I got all my friends here at Proof. Were I a heroic fan before the major here?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you know, I said Caden is one of my biggest inspirations to play the game. I'm an AWPer, like, he's one of my biggest inspirations, like, his personality, his, like, style of playing. I really love this guy. He's amazing. I'm cheering a lot for him and Heroic team as well.
And what does it mean to you to have the major here in Brazil and be able to see these players, get the autographs and things like that? Because I know it's something so special to you guys.
Yeah, like I'm dreaming for this moment, like, for, I don't know, 8 years, 7 years, the moment I started playing CS. You know, I'm 19 years old, I'm young, I didn't get the I don't know, land times, 1.6 times, but since I got my first contact with CS, I fell in love with the game, and I'm dreaming about this moment like for years, and being here, being all my friends here is like a special moment. For me, it's amazing to have like be here, see like all the legends here. Like I talked to all of Meister Forrest Freiberg like yesterday, like what the hell am I doing here? I was like so surprised I'm like talking to these legends. I never like thought of meeting these guys, and yeah, it's amazing. Like for me, it's undescribable feeling. Yeah.
And just before the grand final, we saw the announcement that we'll be getting an IEMRIO for next year. Are you happy for that?
Yeah, of course, man. Like I'm being like all the days that I can, I'm here. Like I know everybody like wants to be here. It's a dream not only for me, but like all this gigantic community of the Brazilian CSGO. They want to be here. It's a dream for everybody to be here. Like thanks ESL for like making this dream come true here, and like I hope we can like be here together more years, more majors as well, and repeat this experience. You guys are seeing like history here. This is unique, and I hope you guys repeat it. You see how this crowd goes crazy with everything. This is Brazil, guys. This is Brazil.
This is Brazil, and this is the major. Let's get back to the desk and let's get into the game.
Yeah. Let's go!
Yeah, he said it pretty good right there, but ultimately the big lesson for me is don't let your dreams be memes. At this point, there are no memes on the table. We're talking about cold, hard Counter-Strike in the best-of-3 format. Again, grand final. I'm told that the fixes are in place. Everything has been kind of put there, and we're just a few minutes.
We sent Yenko, and he's got the job.
Yeah, I saw you get your tool belt out. You're ready to kind of get it to work, weren't you, Yenko?
I definitely got the belt out, Trace.
Oh, no,
I made quick work of it.
Oh, look at that. Somebody got a gold coin. Yenko, thoughts?
I can only watch that with sadness.
But never touch it.
Sage.
Just dream it.
Speaking of sadness, that is actually what will come at the conclusion of this one. So again, guys, I've asked you for your predictions. There's nothing there. I don't have to ask him for them again. But if you want...
It's Jame time, baby. It's Jame time.
Okay.
It's coming. It's happening.
Well, perhaps we do it to it, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Just running you through it one more freaking time before we jump into the game. We're talking Mirage, Overpass, and Inferno, should we need it. Heroic, the Outsiders, and a story for the ages. Two teams you didn't think were going to make it to the final, then somehow slipped, tripped, and fell all the way through a bracket and got into that big stage at the very end of the tunnel. The road to Rio culminated to this. 24 teams, down to just 2, and only one can win because that's exactly how competition works. And without any further ado, I present to you the major grand finals, commentated by that of Sponge and Machine.
A grand final that starts on Mirage. These two squads, both greater than the sum of their parts, bare knuckle brawling for a major title. We've got the honor of telling you the story as it unfolds. No one knows where this one goes, Chad, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun finding out. Now, Outsiders bring the attack into the start of our affair. Heroic to receive them on the defense.
Yeah, stylistically, that's been the conversation. Difficult to tell how this one's going to mesh here in the best of 3, but out the gates we go, and in the hands of Kick It is the utility. A smoke and a flash, and everybody heading straight towards Ace. Down and Shush over towards Ticket to receive them here. It's a 3-man B stack, so if the attack comes soon, It's going to be on these two to ward them away.
Yeah, but Stown is sharp as attack. He's put him on the headshot angle. He's got Shush in support as well. Now, it's not ready for the Palace fight. That's Shush's responsibility. It's James that's jiggling. Perfect flash. Wow. Straight to the face from the Glock. Goosh. And on the way back is Flit. Knocks down one. Rotates in. Fame taking a duel, and he wins them both with Flit by his side, who frags everyone. 3 on the pistol to mow down the heroic defense. Bomb down, round lost, unless Yabi can get anything done. It takes him a full 12 bullets, but Norbert gone. Be hard-pressed to do much more. No kit, got to find 2 more. Dancing around triple, dancing around the default, and that's the end of that. Flip for 4. Straight out of the gate, the Outsiders. A statement of intent. Very little to celebrate for Heroic, very little additional cash. I think a single kill is all they have to celebrate.
And a bit of a smile on the face there from Fame, who was taken out of the equation here by Kicket's team kill. But the conversation to kick off that round was the fact there was only 2 players here. However, information is power, and Heroic, they seized that. They had that B boost. They knew it wasn't going to be the B play. Cadian was out middle, and the rotation was there. But hitting their shots was Outsiders. Full spy back. Scout for Cadian. The highlight of this was some deagles around it. A nice nade forward to chip away at Flit and Jame.
Definitely something we should highlight is Heroic's utility damage.
They've been bang on. There's been some fantastic work. Look clinical at times on specific matchups. Just go back to that Liquid game, seeing Elige, nades and Molotovs in his face round after round.
Yeah, they're very diligent. You know, it's rare you see wasted lethal utility. Molotovs and nades combined, flashes and Molotovs. It can all be a lethal concoction.
This is the type of round where Heroic want to turn this into the Force by Wars. The back and forth nature.
Got good smokes. It's going to deny the scout. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, obviously not in a rush here, are they?
Does throw out a bit of a threatening flash through that smoke. Now, Yabi will be cleared. Jump. Oh, no need. Actually, Flit again in the feed. And he is feasting upon Heroic. 2 more headshots already. As easy as that. I mean, these can be scary rounds, especially you lose one early, weapons are lost, information is lost, but this has been handled gracefully by Flit.
Yeah, and this heavy rifle investment. You don't want to give too much over, but Shush silences Jame. They know where he is now. Stown and Cadian are both here over towards this A side as well. It could still get prickly with 35 seconds.
They're coming for him, though. Shush would need to hit a banger, or Cadian as well with the no-scope. Does go awry. Shush using that smoke to his own advantage. Kick it well drilled, not going to succumb. It's again Flit. Man is on one. Kick it again just to secure the round. Yeah, Cadian's going to get nothing done from jungle. A nice try, missed the shot. Evasive strafe, and now he's the one trying to evade the hunt.
Yeah, they're hunting him down here. Fame, Flit surging forward. Kick it, trying to cut him off with the pass by going around T-Spawn. They are trying to remove everything here, and Cadian gets deleted by Norbert. And that was one of the keys when we were covering the Outsiders versus Fnatic game, I believe, is how, well, Outsiders, the team who loves to save, were good at punishing exactly that when you wanted to go for it. So not allowing there to be any booby traps going into round number 3. It should be a very light economical here from the Danes. And that was a tidy deagle shot, sure, but it's more of a consolation. And understandably so. It was a lengthy tech timeout before we got underway with play.
Oh, the juxtaposition there was funny. All right, well, yeah, as you said, an economical.
I think this is a curious matchup, right? We've been talking a lot about this stylistically, and we're going to have to dig into those details here to explain it to everybody at home. But this game, with Outsiders in the server, it's the perfect team to highlight the importance of Counter-Strike's beautiful details, right? Turning that notch up to 11, milking every single moment, every single detail, every single kill to its greatest advantage. Cadian gets one, but again, it's going to be Jame just mopping them up. 2 more to find of Shush and Stown, and they're already being dealt with.
But I think what you're referring to as well, it's no better embodied than in these 2 teams. The Outsiders have their game. I know we used to dismiss it as a cliche, but there is a lot of depth to that statement if you investigate. You know, Heroic, they've definitely put their own, flavor.
That's a lot of skill being displayed. He's called it off. Oh, yeah. He's got a bit of a little bit more than he could chew right there. And the disapproval of the crowd, he's not happy with that one.
But is it safe to say that though the desk leans Outsiders, even the conversation of a potential 2-0, this should be a marathon, not a sprint? Now, I see Dastan on the mic.
Again, it's been very common for Outsiders to do this, actually. Look, we've got some timeout stats somewhere. Maybe I'll dig into them at half-time here. But they always seem to be taking these timeouts quite early. And this is after the 3-0 start. So Dastan just setting the record straight of how he wants his team to approach. And that combination of Dastan and Jame, had a chance to speak to Dastan just the other day. I think they've been together for something like 6 years. So the brain trust of this team have great faith in what one another are bringing to the table here. Now, we were talking about the Heroic playstyle, right? They're about subverting the expectation, but when you're in their server, you're expecting Heroic. That's their modus operandi, right? It is the unexpected. So Cadian on this AWP.
Well, both of these AWPing in-game leaders have whipped it
missed
out
window smoke
early. And Stound's just going to stand and bang. If you want to try, James is there. Should he try and clear? Norbert patrolling early B presence. And oh, this is more than a patrol. This is a forward watch. Shush has got straight ramp control and trying to track on the jumping flip.
Didn't hit him at all.
Executed. Not a single bullet connects. You can see the reaction, anticipating a Molotov down his gullet. This is mad.
He might get down in the back here. Kickit is coming back, and Shush is not predicting this whatsoever. He's pivoting, but he should be a dead man walking. Kickit hasn't spotted him. Kickit hasn't spotted him. Shush turns around and is going to get the kill. How's he pulled that off?
Nuts from Shush to have such a proactive defense so early into the piece. That signature Heroic. You got a gap, I'm going to leap through it.
And it comes out of one of their more passive anchors, right? Shush, the clutch man, you heard him in the interview there, Fia. Feels like a lifetime ago now, but talking about how in practice he's been doing the clutch in the service, now wants to bring that more to the officials.
Love that forward positioning from Shush. He's not necessarily the character you'd expect to be up in their grill so early.
But Cadian is, and he might receive Norbert and James now, who have sauntered back over. Fame has been called to the party as well, and Flit, he's the missing piece of this puzzle to come through Connector.
He should have them with the shadow. Norbert, legged, knocks his kneecaps off. And he's not slowing down necessarily. Cadian will have time to reposition. Flashes, spray, Norbert, vicious to take down Shush. And don't forget, Cadian repositions down, catching that mid-presence. They're all now Tetris side. But they're playing Heroic's game. Util out, they'd love a plant. James to provide Overwatch, more damage inflicted through the smoke. Yavi's so close yet so far. Bomb is in. First step in the flowchart.
Winnable now. James still alive with this AWP.
Not with the health. I mean, James is a clutch king, master on this AWP, and he is facing in towards CT. Will Heroic avoid him? Still a lot of time on that clock. It feels like it slows down on rounds like this. Yavi, good for it. Cadian the same. Nothing for Norbert. That low HP, he has gone for the round the world maneuver. There's a small opportunity if Yavi doesn't hit this clean. Yavi needs it, loses it. Norbert should go down. He's hit every shot. They do get it eventually. There was a threat. And considering he was the one that caught flak early, it's impressive.
And this is where we need to refer to those details, right? A couple of kills like that, where we always talk about the economic impact it's going to have on Heroic here. So their buy coming forward, there will be one available. But chipping away, right, they don't confirm the round. But this is a long game. It's first to 16. It doesn't matter how quick you're out the gate. It doesn't matter if you get to 10 first. And that's the way the outsiders approach Counter-Strike. They understand they're in this for the long run. So a great attempt from Norbert here.
Good to see him online.
Now that proactive nature of Shush right there, that can come from a lot of different elements on this Heroic team. So do we see more of those risky maneuvers, trying to find these gaps, thread the needle? They're going to flash and fight.
4 of them taking mid control and
no flash.
Complete success. 2 flattened. Flit, Fame, down. Norbert advancing. Very forward position on this, and he's found a gap. There's no one home. Bomb's going down courtesy of James, and they're making a round out of this with a 2-man disadvantage. Heroic favored for the retake, but look at this. Norbert caught out, Tessa's aware, and it will just start to peter out, despite that bomb ticking in their favor. Yabi's got the door locked behind you. They'll activate when necessary. They do need to get their ass on towards that bomb. James already catches Yabi. That is impressive. Oh. This is a problem now because Kicker's still on the site and he just needed one more frag. One more frag and the 2v5 could have been a very real. Look how little time was left. Well handled in the end.
Again, another close one, right? Keeping them very honest here. This is the fiery Counter-Strike we'd like to see. Now, there was really no opportunity for James to try and save in that situation. Preempted that flank coming through. Bought them a buffer on the way out, but the fight came too quick. And look, this isn't too much of a worrying sign early in terms of we need to be majorly concerned, but we need to point out some of the stat lines here. Traditionally, for Fame and Norbert in this roster, they're 2 of the higher performers. Now they're 2 of the younger blood as well. This is Fame's first ever major, which means it's first ever major grand final, and he's yet to frag. He is the #1 in the tournament as far as opening kills go on the T side of Mirage. So he is going to be a factor here for them in success.
So not only is he the best on this side of this map, he's now on his first grand final stage at 19 years of age and currently yet to frag. Tessa
changes.
Cadian about to make a lot of impact on this rush. They're throwing bodies into the B site and Cadian's just swatting them away like pesky mosquitoes. Get out. Only one. James and his Kevlar vest going to do his Kevlar best, but We got a fourth, or rather a third.
And a clean one, all right? That's the difference. Now, they were given that opportunity by the virtue of the buy-in. Well, funny this, Outsiders haven't gotten away with any saves just yet. So that is also going to be a key factor here with some of these details. When you talk to the players, right, I've had the opportunity to talk to several pros over the last couple of days. I was talking to Magic from Spirit today. I got to speak to Mezzi and Fasha yesterday from Fnatic,
nice.
right? And I got to pick their brain about, Outsiders, Jame, and they're talking about Ghost Orbs. You never know where Jame is going to be with the AWP, but the assumption has to be he's somewhere, and that makes things extremely difficult. And again, it's another risky maneuver from Heroic here, keeping this proactive form. They have two players searching towards a ramp. The B-bomb site was very light on earlier. It's just Tessus, but Cadian's here. But is he here in time? In the first shot, he spotted the cross. One down onto Fame.
Another death for Fame. 5 deaths, 0 contributions. This time handed his ass by Cadian, and they cancel plans. Cadian just rips up that game plan. Says, try again. Try something else. But that is definitely something to keep an eye on in terms of the opener being the opening death. Outsiders maybe missing a component, at least initially.
Well, Norbert is looking exactly like we'd expect Norbert to, right? You see how nonchalant he seems in these interviews. We're just playing our game. James is calling our game. It's like we do in practice, and that's where you want to set your consistent bar, which is something Outsiders have for them. But this is the very early stages here. Now, the question is, are Heroic going to be able to break away from the pack? And when we find ourselves in these scenarios right now, right, we got 50 seconds left on the clock, you're thinking, okay, well, they're just going to sit back, but they always go fishing. There's always a little bit of a look in case something happens.
Every round, when it looks like Outsiders are down and out, they do seem to make a round out of it. Knocking on Shush's door. Yabi as well. Little less experience on this side of the site, especially on a grand final fight. Yabi dancing with Flit. He's been a very imposing presence. James trying to chip away further as well. Shush has not moved. Look at this. The restraint on him leads to a frag. Should be 2. And that's the round locked in for Heroic. But you can see, this is another example. Outsiders will make you work for everything. You cannot relax.
It has to be a part of their gameplay as well, because they're so prevalent with the saving here, that if you lost those 2 opening kills, as they did in the first 20 seconds of the round, you can not just go back to spawn and wait, because they will eventually find out there's no sound, there's nothing across the map, and then they will hunt you. But you need to stay somewhat puffed up, right? In a position where if you do get that kill, if a fight comes your way, if they do come aggressive, you can capitalize. And if you don't, well, then you can save in your safe haven that you've been able to buy yourself.
Is it fair to say as well that teams have got very good at getting information safely? More than,
sure.
Like, at a higher level than we've ever seen.
We've got the jiggle peaks, obviously we've got jump spotting, there's different boosts, using that utility, right? There's a whole lot of different ways, and teams know that once you strafe out for that fight, you don't have to be committed to it. As I said earlier, information is power. Use your teammates. It is a team game here, and we do have a hero AK in the hands of Fame right now.
They're trying to activate him. Just trying to get the sleep out of his eyes and get him with his eyes on the prize. Yabi forward position. Who's responsible for underpass? That's down. You've got a 3-man setup here in mid. Now, Shush will be on the jiggle. Kicker's gone walking and spots him. Surely that alerts Outsiders there's likely going to be bodies in mid, and they are still coming. Forward position. Yabi aware and now noted. It's Fame to activate. Down. That was his responsibility, but Fame with that hero AK does hero things. If he could just get another, Fame announces his presence in glory and bloodshed. Cadian tested on window. Tessa's tucks and turns tail. Actually dunks on Fame. That's a big nade from the Dane. Bomb on the back of James. Cadian at the disadvantage, or posted, and that smoke won't last forever. He has got that Tech 9 in order to facilitate any close combat he's required for. Heroic are really strung out. Flit straight to the head of Shush, and this now falls apart for the Danish defense. There is an open plant, knocks him off it, delays, but James will get it down regardless.
Yeah, it looks like Cadian's trying to back off and save here, but Norbert over towards this window room. You might be able to unravel this. If any sound cues are made, can relay that information, and Norbert just patrolling. He doesn't need to strike until they overstep, and Tessus has done just that.
Yeah, he's overstepped. And now could go down. Cadian, ooh, careful now, Cadian with his orb on his back. Tessus trying to bodyguard the leader. Does so with some parkour of his own and will get away.
Okay, well, that should be it right now. And that was 1 AK, a couple of upgraded pistols. Fame, we're just talking about him, and he's that impact, and he's able to deliver here with not 1, but 2 kills to open up round number 8. So massive work for the 19-year-old. I said first major grand final. You talk about, hey, it's another day at the office. There's obviously pressure. I love the way the Death surmised this. This isn't like any other game. This is your opportunity to win a major grand final and join the elite. Our World Cup. This is the tippy top of our mountain right here. This is every Counter-Strike player's dream. this is, if you're a completionist, the end.
Yeah, I feel something tells me James is a completionist. You know, everyone speaks so highly. Yakinda cannot stop talking about the way James sees. He thinks he's the smartest player he's ever played with and ever will play with. I mean, that is high praise from a player that we obviously regard highly. And I think Counter-Strike also boils down to this tightrope we all walk, whether in life and in the server, of walking this tightrope of confidence and arrogance. You've got to come into this server believing in your ability, but you don't want to fall into that trap, and that's when you see arrogance in the game as well. I mean, it is, you know, almost one-to-one. Counter-Strike is very human.
Yeah, for sure. I think this, you know, at the end of the day, this is a competition, so you need to have that ego to some degree. Right. To know that you're going to battle because you want to beat the 5 individuals on the other side of the server. You want to prove that you are the absolute best. But if you have, as you mentioned, that arrogance right there and you overstep the mark, you start taking too many risks, it will come back to bite you in the ass with these details that we're trying to define here today.
All right, well, everyone's got the Zoom banger. James and Cadian with their signature weapons. Let's see what round 9 has. Oops, in store. Missed Molly. Cadian, open the account for Heroic, at least firing off the shot. No damage inflicted. Flit, just a bit of chip damage. Back of the box, down to half. Fame tries his luck on the same move, and they stack nade again. Heroic. Draw blood with shrapnel alone. Stown can extend that lovely dink. Obscured view, but Fame still holds his nerve. And now Cadian for the finish. Oh, it cost him his life. That was a little arrogant. Goes for the finish. He was just so hungry for it. Didn't consider the James position.
This is the info game again. A-ramp, nobody. They've actually given up the gap to Kick It, who is starting to come back around. Shush might get caught by a timing here in the 2 of these. They've had some awkward timing so far. Kick It's very aware, so is James, and this should be a pantsing right here. The A-bomb site is open for business.
Brilliant play. Fame again, going to get some credit. James too.
So much utility as well. They can smoke towards spawn if they'd really like. Right, Norbert has the power position over towards jungle. Still got flashes, Molly's in play. Yabby on the flank as well. Again, it flanks on flanks on flanks.
Coming, flanking the flankers who flanked. And Yabby, how has he got this gap? Both there, both dead! Yabby, impact! It looked like outsiders round. Now the script flipped and only one more headshot required. Norbert catches flak. One to the head.
He's sitting it. He's sitting it.
He is holding it. Oh, and he doesn't expect it. Tessus saves him. What a round. Yabby and Tessus, with their powers combined, will make a 5th round reality.
Oh, okay. That's exactly what Yabby was brought in this team for. Replacing Refresh, brought in as the X Factor. The around the world, this didn't seem possible, right? Traditionally, when that kill comes in, I said the site, they had it. It was open for business, but not accounting for this. James normally ready for everything.
And that's what I was going to say. How rare is that? James not looking the right way? I don't see him caught out often.
That's the 2B defenders as well, but here comes the aggression. They might be feeling a little bit rumbled right now, and Stown trying to give him a little bit more. Chips away at the toes. Flit knocked down slightly. They will relinquish control of that boost. So information going both ways here. But Heroic, they've seen enough. They're dropping back now, and let's see where else on the map they want to continue this proactive nature. Back to isolate the A defender. It's normally just Kick It here on the default, but Norbert as well.
And Norbert's just been a real safe pair of hands. I don't know if I'd want to trifle with him early. Oh, but Shush does. Successful. Onto the ramp presence.
He caught both there, but look at this. There's no reaction from outsiders. They haven't started pushing anywhere across the map. They're still just defaulting through. Fame and Flit. They're not broken. Tessus dropping back to support Cadian's AWP, who is somewhat out of the play here.
It's always fun to watch how outsiders dig themselves out of trouble.
Well, they have to rumble Stown and Shush on A. It looks likely as the bomb's starting to come up the ramp. A connector smoke, well timed.
Kick It on the crawl. Now, Shush will be exposed.
Spotted. Kick It. Laser vision.
Got a free headshot there. Shush caught out, but he does survive long enough for Stown at least to shut him down. Outsiders still making a very imposing presence up the stairs. Nice angle through the smoke. 1 and done. Fame to trade. 2 on 2. Very high stakes game. And the bomb is being planted. The pot shot to bait Yabby to crawl. I don't think they got the info on the walk through. Timing good. Damage better. Straight through the triple box. Getting Yabby a problem. Newest addition and absolutely unfazed by the state of play. Now they got a smoke. They don't have a kit. There is one there you see on Shush's corpse. Actually one right in front of them. You can see that through the X-ray. Time-sensitive mission. Kit picked up. Oh, spots them both.
Default
eliminates
plan.
one. Fame holding his nerve in his first major. Never mind the grand final.
He's lost him.
He's completely lost him. Fame evaporates. The invisible man clutching up for the outsiders with pinpoint precision. That's nuts. It looked like Heroic's round all the way until it wasn't.
Well, he's opening and closing them now. That is fantastic from Fame here. Comfy stuff. I remember tuning into this kid's stream. He was in a battle for the highest elo in Face It, right? Going toe-to-toe with some of the other big names of the world, and just watching him on this map specifically, his aim is out of control. He loves hitting the heads right here, and, well, he puts on a show with two of those.
You can see it. Dude,
that's a big round.
Robotic.
And that's just after the Yabby round happened, right? With that flank coming through. So that's a statement. The back and the forth nature of this is really good as we find ourselves at 5-5. And Cadian, he was just scrambling. He was just trying to get out of dodge. I cannot believe they lost the positioning of Fame right there. So that is massive stuff from the young gun.
No silencer on that AK. And that one might get under your skin a little bit. You feel like you misplayed it. You do have to shake it off. Taylor Swift was right. But a very competitive first map. This is promising.
I like the little details in a round like that as well. You know, that connector smoke lands. I say good timing because you're expecting them to start limping up through connector and then go on either side of it. But that's as they crept out the ramp. So it drew attention. It did the job, and it enabled them to go from a 4v5 disadvantage situation into a, well, 1v2 clutch. And here's the push again.
They're looking for gaps. Heroic. They will exploit your weakness.
They're just going to walk out Palace.
Why not? Kick it, just dry. You're not going to be ready for this. If you're sure, you're just holding a nade in your hand, and now, yeah, it's down, desperately trying to bail his teammate out of trouble. Too late. Norbert makes it permanent. Shush forced to watch. Very light on nades. Down needs to find headshots and has done so onto Flit. James still a problem. Onto Cadian. Limited resources for Heroic to defend now as outsiders look to take a leg up and a leap to 6. Flash will be eaten.
Tess is on a flank here, so...
Yeah, that is a Palace.
James been caught up before.
Get caught out again? He might. He might. He is from behind. Tessas, only the one. It's Fame, long range on the Galil. Safe pair of hands. He knows he's communicating a lot. I think he's aware of Yabby's likely murder hole advance. Down the one with a bit more freedom, but very hard pressed to make any sort of impact on this round. Head has to be on a swivel. Good damage. Fame doesn't give it. Kick it with contact. That is perfect. Just team play. You know, we talk about it. This is what the desk was spending a lot of time discussing, is that both of these teams are this much greater than the sum of their parts because of their communication, because of their reaction to the information. Now, again, talking of information, James probably going to be checking his flank a bit more throughout this series.
Yeah, he just hasn't expected this in multiple occasions. Now, lucky it didn't cost him because the kid that we were bringing up not that many rounds ago was 0-5. Now, he's got himself at 9 kills to his name, so he is back in action, and that's exactly what outsiders need. And the key of a round like that, round number 11, was it's a break round. You could see Heroic, they invested everything and more, whatever they could, the kitchen sink, and now they have nothing. So this is going to be a day where they just run in to kick it.
He's going to have some fun with this one. So from 4 frags, 5, and oh, Tessas, very good use of his USB. Flit just tapping away at the gap, inflicting good damage. Now you should see the outsiders just escort the bomb into B.
Fame might get a few more here.
I think he might. Farming up onto Cadian for his 10th. Gonna leap towards the top of the scoreboard here. Shush warded off by the flame.
It is crazy to think that Fame's clutch was the break round, right? Because that was the catalyst for then Heroic to go into a round where they didn't have everything they needed and more. And then you're able to convert what is an easier round. They contacted out towards A. They had very forward positions. They convert that, and now it's the eco. So you can see the flow-on effects of all of these little rounds and the details that all add up.
That's one thing that I think everyone loves about Counter-Strike, is that whatever it is you provide in the round, be it a call, a frag, a multi-kill, a sound cue heard and relayed to your team, it all has an impact in the grand scheme, whether it's economical, whether it's a result, a round. Every single detail can have an effect on that final result.
Lands to a slaughter right there.
Yeah, well, we do see Yabby maintain the only AK. Of course, Kickit lost that after the one, so something to celebrate on an otherwise rather bleak round for the Danes.
I don't think an AWP will be available for Cadian here, so that as the conversation is at least something they'll need to have in their gameplay. But they've been very proactive with these rifles, right? We've seen a couple of times they want to take these fights over towards A. They've done some B pushes as well. Stoun's even had that jaunt up mid where it didn't result in a whole lot, but they want to show themselves first. And I think if you can get a kill or two early against a team like Outsiders and maintain that number advantage, that's when they're more likely to save, right? So it's going to make it a whole lot harder for them to get away with their smoke and mirrors and using that clock against you. So the buys are coming through. I saw Dastan today, saw him in the halls. He looks pretty focused, right? He's not a guy, you don't see him with a smile on the face too often here, but he definitely has some big insights. And we're talking about these teams and what they've been able to build and the sum of all their parts. Well, Dastan, he's been taking care of the other four, while James has been able to focus more on himself here, which helps with his in-game leadership and the impact he can have. And as an AWP in-game leader, you have to have impact.
It shows as well, James. Clutch of the tournament so far. One of the many reasons they find themselves in this grand final. Now Fame, down, another name we must mention as he forces the conversation. A double kill forward on mid. Norbert is next victim. Stown with 3 and dips away. Baits into Tesses. And the whole squad just sent packing. 1 to go. James does hit the first. Somewhat of a crowd favorite, and that's for good reason. But ladies and gentlemen, with 6 grand in the bank, James might be playing the long game.
Yeah, I think so here. The question is, how is he going to save? So at this point, he's boxed in.
It's his favorite game.
And he's been flanked a couple of times, so the likelihood for that is probably trickling through his mind. Yavi and Tesses are closing that door if he wants to head back to pick up the C4. Shush and Stown to contend with Palace and A-Ramp for now. And this is around where we will just see time sink off the clock. But this is where you have to make the choice of your heroic. We're getting late within this first half. Do you want to throw bodies at this to remove the AWP, where you may lose a couple, right? Because Jamie's definitely been hitting some shots. I know it's only 6 kills, but as you mentioned, this is his favorite game and one where he would love to inflict some damage. So it might just be a stalemate here for the next 30 seconds or so.
Gives us an opportunity to talk about Mr. Triple Kill. Stown, young gun, and a bit of a prodigy, a phenom for Danish Counter-Strike. I mean, there is a lot. Anyone that's queuing Face It knows there's a lot of Danish 5 stacks that hurt. But Stown is king of all of these masters of the mechanics.
Well, this is the thing with Stown, right? He gets the title attributed to him like Jack of all trades because he can do it all, right? There's a joke that he's the best AWPer in heroic, right? That's a bit of a gag.
I think would even laugh at that one,
right? Yeah. So Stown can do it all, right? And in terms of like superstar ascension, he doesn't have that same aura about him. But I think that's also because of this team. Like coming into this event, right? He played average for Stown standards within the Legend stage, and now in the playoffs, he's finding his form exactly when they need to. So maybe just preserving that energy to make sure he could deliver here on the big stage. But that was just deathmatch in mid, just pivoting around, taking those fights, willing to get in the face of Outsiders, and that's what we discussed. Those aggressions, looking for those kills to then have the round simmer out. They just got 4 in quick succession.
Nice recovery though, heroic. The quick multi-kill into mid. You won't be seeing that again, I say, with bated breath. The nades, flip nose, and has learned his lesson. They don't stop coming.
They obviously brought more bodies here because if they're going to bully us with pushes, we need to force them back. Mid is key real estate. Norbert, well, he's taking another piece. Tetris.
James coming too. This looks like it could be a bit more of an early forward position out of Norbert, gives them room. And they'll wait for the go sign. Now that smoke might delay their proceedings. Good util. Forces Norbert back. Wow, they just bought respect with nades alone.
Okay, that was a very good little option to force him out of play. But here comes Flit and Fame.
Rather standard pincer into A. 2 through mid. Flit and Fame. Dastardly duo. Coming for you. Cadian. Gonna be swept through. Nice find from the leader. 1 and done. Fame still an issue. Church, woof, meets his fate. Double out of his M4 still, and Fame did take a lot through that smoke. Might want to just let James work. Let him work his magic. He's got the bomb down for you. These two, Fame and James, a potent pair. Up against the 3 of them. Tessus, if he can find it cleanly, does get spotted out by James. Relay of information. Fame is up close. Debate the switch. They're not looking. Good react out of Tessus. Leaves it all on to James. 1 bullet, 1 kill. Smoke on the bomb. Can he really find all 3? Just has to stop that defuse. Yabi looking the wrong way. 1. As he looks to find another. Caught out. Well played. Just enough time on that defuse. for a 7th for Heroic. I'm nervous every time the man's in a clutch.
Yeah, right. It is a very scary factor right there, but I can imagine what was going through his head was the amount of times he's been flanked already in this game. So not only do you have to worry about whatever information Fame was trying to give to him, it's still a couple of unknowns in a round like this. And there was a chance to pick that one up, but Heroic are recovering this CT half right now. Remember, this is the map choice of Outsiders here, best of 3. And if they can get themselves the half win, even though it's the smallest of margins, that extra round buffer going into the break is going to likely mean a lot here for the Danes.
Ooh, it's a Poundland buy.
But this is the thing, James saved AWP before with the extra cash he had. Now he has another AWP. So the impact he gets with this, that's been a carry-on effect, right? It's compounded from the previous rounds.
That's why they're so lethal, so hard to put away. Fame versus Stown, been quite the head-to-head. It's Galil versus M4, and Stown wins this one, wins this round in the head-to-head. Still kept level, courtesy of Flit through mid.
Tessas might push B a little bit more here, and on the timing, the jiggle spotted Flit and Stown will exchange information there. The bomb is still down, so this push from Tessas, if he keeps going through the B apartments, he may find the bomb before Outsiders have committed.
I love this. First shush, spoke his name, still gets one on the swing through.
Tessas will find the bomb here.
Yeah, that's big from Tessas. Round defining.
Knife out!
Ah, he doesn't know,
oh!
And he lost his head. Kickert has saved Outsiders. Tessas.
Where was he going? The bomb was there.
I don't think he saw it. And that could lead to the round. That AWP you discussed. Jane misses his first chance. One across the bow from Cadian.
Stown's still here.
Yeah, he can actually mantle up and deny that plant. Now 20 seconds as Kickert brings it through. They haven't pushed for CT. They'll be aware that's a threat. Molly, Stown, gonna have to do side. Oh wait, maybe doesn't spread. Maybe doesn't spread. Maybe doesn't spread. Planting, he can't deny. Has to stand still. And still jumps up. Doesn't find the frag he needed. Kickert alive, reloaded, moisturized and in his lane because this is looking like an 8. Cadian with him. James doesn't miss these. As soon as you cross into his line of fire, whoa! Gorgeous! From that AWP, one AWP for Cadian. What can you hit? Not the same, and run on down. It is a 1-out half on the T side. Outstanding from the outside. It's a recovered half from Heroic. And this first map, high. Grand Finals, IEMRIO, first half in the bag. I think both teams probably happy with that. We are ready to rock and roll second half, and we will crown a new major champion today, Chad. That is the reality.
Nobody in the server thus far has ever tasted the glory of a major trophy, but exists. Oh, the coach of Heroic, he's done it before, and here he can see if he can help them get across the line. I think things have chopped and changed here. I think we're inside the arena.
Are we in the arena?
I think we are.
Can you hear me? Janus Arena, can you hear me?
Slightly.
I think that's a mild yes.
That's a mild yes. We'll take it. All right.
Wow. That's exciting. Obrigado.
Probably accidental as well here, so we'll do our best.
Anyway, second half is underway. Outsiders take to the defense. We've got Heroic on the attack. Let's see what the Danes can do. Up against James and co.
All right, there we go. Back to normality. That was a lot of pressure there.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that at one bit.
Well, this is looking quick. Molly towards jungle. They're going to come fast up through the underpass and straight into James, who taps away one.
Careful now. James good for it. Gets away into the 4-on-4 early. Now, Cadian's working his master plan. Wants to keep Tessa's parked in mid. Down already looking for info onto B, and it's wide open for the taking. Look at this. This proactivity, this awareness of the gaps. He's already burrowed into bench as the smoke lands. James not ready. Okay. Stown delivers on the frag.
How are you going to get back into this? Down's going to keep pushing forward, taking the fight. Tessus has found Fame.
This is perfect. What a gorgeous pistol, but Norbert and Kickett aren't laughing. They don't think it's pretty.
Yabi's still coming.
Yeah, he's miles away. He has to hit his first on the P250.
It's a default plan as well.
He's got short to contend with. And he's already dealt with Kickett. A lovely tap out of that P250. Leaves Norbert. He's got the perfect retake package. Fully loaded. Smoke. Kit. Onto the bomb. Tickle it. Nervous. Cadian running in down. He's got to find that player on the bomb. Fakes it out. Still not getting that frag. Playing with them. He should have it on the knife. Missing it now. Cadian getting nervous. He has got it just in time. An extra 1,500 bucks as the Karambit sinks into the Kevlar vest of Norbert. But I want to talk about that pistol strat. Just seeing Tessus, you know, you park him in mid and you just immediately see his value.
But it was the information. So you know, as soon as they're able to grab that information, right, that James was in window, I don't know too many other details here, but they were able to get into B quite free. And I think here, poor Cadian was looking for a metal detector. He couldn't find him whatsoever until the final throws of that. So Norbert trying to be tricky with it. That's a pistol round picked up here, so exchanging the T-side pistols to tie things up 8-8. And a force buy with 2 Fami.
Could go wrong because there's a lot of bodies here from outsiders, and Fame is so deadly on that FAMAS. The FAMAS with 2. Shush finally stops him before any more damage is done, but I'm afraid that will continue to echo through this round. They are trapped. Door locked with Norbert with the key. Now they can play this as they typically do. Kicker does go down to the flame. A war of attrition from Spray. And Norbert is starting to actually press the issue. Test is unawares again, just clotheslined with the hand cannon. A single bullet, lethal. And James snappy to the head of Stown as well. Outsiders will make you work. And this second round, supposed to be a walk in the park, it's not. It's more like Jurassic Park. Snapping at you everywhere you go. Little Velociraptors, Flit and James will finish it. And that's a forced by victory. That T-side pistol, irrelevant.
Yeah, right there. That is a great round to win. You see Fame on the side. That's not the expectation right there. The setup, traditionally Norbert towards B, Fame over towards short. James is your window connector player alongside of Flit, and then you have Kicker anchoring A. So that little nucleus I just discussed is very, very potent. But this call, right? This call from outsiders with these type of rifles, this type of purchase as the force to stack that site, have now got us well and truly on the way for some force by wars. Stown will have an AK going into this round of play. There's a couple of upgraded pistols, so this is something where outsiders would traditionally do their best work. You want to have a pistol here to get that info, then Stown to be able to either trade off of that or use that info to get that frag. And then you've got armor on other players here, so you're able to pick that up, siphon the rifles across, try and stay as threatening as possible. Absolute worst case scenario for Heroic here is to get nothing, to get absolutely blank. They need to keep this somewhat competitive in an environment like this.
Definitely some parallels between Fame and Stown in the sense that he may have 1 year on him, but he's the one that's trusted on these hero rifles. He's the one his whole team backs to break some backs and help them come back with this force by war. Flit concedes just as the jiggles come through. Chip damage onto Shush. No Kevlar. That's a lot of damage from the first connection. Smoked off. Can actually see the ladder player get activated as well. He's going to go for a more passive approach.
Need to discuss the mind games here as well. Jaime has been boosted in the B site this entire time, so he wasn't expecting a potential B pop here. Now that Norbert has the space, Jaime is freed up, but he was very sure, or at least had a pretty good inkling, that Heroic were going to finish towards B. So now Jaime is a loose piece. He gets to read this as he likes.
Really interesting from Fame. You can see the passive stance. This is the fight he was waiting for, and Down does nothing. It's again Fame in the feed 4-2. He is good for the double, is Fame, but maybe Heroic can do something with what remains. Jaime making it difficult. On to Javi. And yeah, he's found all of the frags necessary. Cadian now with a touch of his tongue. A quick snap on the Deeg, a great shot. And 8 seconds left, he'd have to bang him out now, and that will do. That'll do nicely. Outsiders have humbled Heroic.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, it needed to be somewhat costly. So 2 kills, is it going to be enough? Well, no, not enough to get Heroic into another buy round here. Maybe a plant and a couple more frags, you have that conversation. But this is Outsiders after a pistol round loss, course correcting, and looking fantastic. And those key in the back-to-back rounds. These are rounds now where Fame has got the opening kills in both of them. Right now, that means that they get an extra. It should be a freebie. It's 5 Glocks, a smoke, and a flash. This is one of the easiest rounds you'll be looking at in this grand final.
He was missing for the first 5 rounds, and now on 13 rounds, he's managed to farm up 16 frags. The boy is back.
He's got the most multi-kills in the server right now.
Oh, and there might be a few more on the agenda. Here it comes, Fame with 4! Just knocks Heroic for 6.
Well, yeah, sure, they're eco kills, but that's going to feel good in the context of this game. Right? You have to just know that you're going to be really feeling yourself. A nice little bit of practice there, just whipping that AK around.
Yeah, you know, just making sure it still works. I mean, he was staying real nimble, real dynamic, and to keep track of all those pesky Ts. They were at different angles, only Glocks, but he massacres them. And we'll farm up some frags.
This is a rough-looking buy for Heroic here. They have smokes, they have flashes, but they don't have a full kit by any means. You normally talk about Heroic, they're going back to spawn, picking up extra flashes, picking up extra smokes. This just tells you how they're feeling in the dumps right now. Mid-heavy presence here, 2 underpass, 2 top mid. Cadian over towards Palace and Fame. 20 kills, happy to take the fights. This kid's aim is mental.
Absolutely feeling himself now, Chad. I wonder if he keeps this up, he's going to maybe deter Heroic from trying any funny business short side. He is a demon, he can help you on connector. Well-timed nade. Flit and him are working in unison very well. What a shot, it's straight through the smokes, down, and look at Fame. He's just not flustered. It's a good one back from Shush. Won't be expecting such an immediate trade, because yeah, there comes Norbert, swings through the angle. Positioning brilliant from the Outsiders, looking like the better team. It's Heroic that are getting caught out. Now, Cadian perhaps with a lot of space. Now, usually there isn't a gap, but I can see Kicker's just jiggling from jungle, so no one knows. No one knows that Cadian has slipped through. This is interesting, especially now. Kicker saves the day. Tessus bomb, 3 to find, and James having absolutely none of it. Just hold it in that angle. You said already, was posted up, expecting something fruity. Timeout time.
You know what's crazy? James had to get an opening kill, right? Really? And then coming into this, there's a big discussion about James. You know, how, look, he hasn't needed to. Right? These rifles have been able to deal it, and I'm sure when we get to Overpass, that will be a different conversation entirely.
How's the, you know, you talked about Norbert and Fame being very high-rated openers on this. After that C side, how did they end up? Was it a decent haul? I mean, it's definitely a good scoreline.
It's being leveled out now on this CT side, but look, they were doing their job, right? Both of their impact was felt within that first half once they got online here, and this is going to be the 3rd time out. Now, I mentioned earlier as we were just coming back from that break about Exist, right? He's the only man on the stage right now who knows what it's like to taste major glory. They had that nice graphic. He's been in 5 major finals as a player. He won 1, right? He has a lot of little tidbits, as you heard from Shush, to give them some major stories, and he needs to keep them cool, right? While we have the cool, calm, collected James on one side of the server, well, you have Cadian, the in-game leader of Heroic, who is extremely fiery and extremely emotional, so they do try and balance each other out here.
Yeah, well, James and Kick It as well.
This is a B-rush.
Yeah, there's going to be Flame to stop him, and it does seem they respect it. Okay. Fame and Norbert.
Oh, look at the rotation. James and Kick It already seem like they're moving over here.
They're aware. They are all too aware. Safe from the flash. Oh, not the second. Drive-by on the Tech 9. Still Fame ready. James already as well in the feed. This is running short of resources. A couple of drive-by dings, but we need to see frags for Heroic. Nicely maneuvered around the site. Norbert good for another. Down tucked on bench. The whole squad is here. I mean, look at these options. There's nothing to do. A single Kevlar vest and a Tech 9. What you got for us?
And I know he's here as well.
Yeah.
You can see the defensive utility they've lobbed at him. So if Shush can grab something, it might give them a gap to work with.
He could maybe catch Fame on a jiggle. That low HP doesn't even... Ooh, too much. Now Shush has been spotted out, and he tries his luck. Can't really fault him for that. Tries to take the duel against the AWP, but now Wells down revealed. They can't all just peak in unison, and Jane will finish it off neat and tidy. And I think neat and tidy is another way I'd describe Outsiders. I mean, this defense, let's not forget, Heroic won the pistol. They won that pistol. It was an 8-7 half. They found their 8 immediately and have since been silent.
And what was the first gun round? What did I say when we saw the first AKs come out? There's some emissions here.
Yeah.
So when you look at this slew of rounds that Fame has impacted into 2 back-to-back, right? The second round buy from Heroic, snuffed out by his Famous. The follow-up round, where they had tried to force it themselves, Fame found a lot of damage there as well. So at this point, it's finally the opportunity for Heroic to start this comeback with the scoreline being 13-8. Right? So the financial issues that have come from losing those first couple of rounds has really caused a flow-on effect here that's allowed Outsiders to get this deep. But as the gag goes, paid by the round, let's see how deep it goes. Janko made comment on the desk that sure, they're a hard team to put away, but they also sometimes have trouble closing out games. And that is likely why we just saw that timeout come through from Dustin to have this conversation. The red carpet is rolled out right now. We win this rifle round. We know that KDN is likely to bring out an AWP here. If we can pip them at the post right now, we can close things down and swiftly move on to map number 2.
Let's see what their plan is. Heroic trying to post their first gun round on this T side. Nothing's worked. Outsiders working overtime. Certainly something they'd like to avoid in this one. An investigation of mid. Nothing to report. That's going to keep Down locked out.
It's such a luxury for James to have Flit and Fame hold mid on their own with rifles, and the AWP doesn't need to be posted here. It means that he gets to be this mystery. He gets to start wherever he wants. He gets to try and look for the pick wherever he wants and test us. Well, he did find Fame towards mid. Jabby found Flit. This is happening very quick.
Yeah, I mean, a surprise to Outsiders and us as well. Now James has to draw his attention to mid. Those 2 aforementioned defenders gone. It was a great frag out of Tess. As you can see, Fame was trying to nade him on tap. He must have just swung out and banged him out.
Well, James looking for the window boost here, using the light, and this could be a fight here. Sandwich, Shush and kick it on a collision course. This has been quite the duel.
Tentative. Norbert's rotated away. I think all that fuss kicked up by Shush has led to an open bomb site. Norbert's going to be aware of it. Kick it the opposite. Nice catch. They can take it all away from Outsiders. That would certainly be in their best interests, considering the funds. A lot of cash already on the Outsiders roster, but they will play the long game.
They need to fight their way out here. They know Shush was on A, and they know the bomb's gone down towards B. Oh, and there's a shot back. So Norbert is trying to buy them a bit of buffer room here. James on high alert. Where has Shush gotten off to? And remember, again, do they want to go for the hunt on the T side? The finances aren't built yet. That's the conversation that Heroic are having right now.
There's a benefit to doing it, but there isn't.
In losing it all, there's not when the buy is available on the other side.
It's such a risk. You can see they are like just having a little walk around, and there, Norbert, rifle, put down, but they know it's James. They know that AWP, has been spotted. CT, they say, will they throw all of their resources into knocking it out of his hands? He's doing so much damage. Yabi will post it. His 3rd frag of the round, 2 on the hunt. For Yabi as well, you know, from what felt like the highest highs of Copenhagen Flames to the truly high highs of Heroic.
This, I mentioned that Shush versus kick at duel has been an interesting one. Remember when Shush was pushing so much? We called that in the early stages of this game as well. So it has been a curious one, trying to keep tabs on each other. You don't tend to see those matchups actually play out like this. So that's curious. And we can already see the issues of losing those guns. Shush has to have a Khalil instead of an AK.
Oh man, I like a bit of aggression. A touch of it from Flit. Just dropped out the window. Has his support of Fame. We know the double Fs like to hold middle in unison. And it does seem like KDN and the boys are coming testing. Could be the run boost. AWP to strafe behind it as crosshairs are drawn. Shush catapulted across. A bit of a whiff on that. Still a fight, an easy one for Fame. Drops his panic button before the flame can land. Safe on the extinguish. Tagged up down to 10 HP. Flit to try and bail him out. It's down, blinded. Fame relocated. And Heroic have won the duel. They have mid now. It's their territory.
Yeah, but they lost Shush in doing so here. So in fact, Fame gets to stay alive. He can just go hide and wait and just remain a number at the top of the scoreboard, right? His HP means he can't take the same type of duels as he would like to, but he's still an unknown entity. Now the gap, you would assume it's up short to B, but it is Jane, which is the perfect weapon for these long-range fights.
Heroic come knock it. James opens the door. A lovely find onto Tesses. More required. Rotate on its way. Still not a clear commitment. Heroic can maneuver through window. Cadian's trying his luck.
With the bomb?
Oh my goodness, that's a ballsy one. He's going to be heard very loud about all of this. Wonder if Flit heard the dismount too. Very light on time.
Yeah, he needs this kill. He needs this kill.
He's got so much experience at playing the time like this, though. James, the Time Lord. Just
I can't find him.
To destroy as they do. Oh, hit some shots. He's still on site, though. 5 as they go for the bomb. Bodyguarded by Yabi. Incredible resuscitation for the Danes, and now Cadian may have spotted a frag. Yabi delivers, and they will close. What a turnaround! Heroic down in the dumps, but they stand tall. Last second. Yabi gets a lot of praise for that one.
That's a 3v5 right there. That is a massive round to win as far as this comeback goes. The fact that they're able to pull that off, they're able to pull that out. I said Yabi had to get that kill. Well, he did, not when I expected it. So the rotation over, that is a massive shot from Cadian. That is crazy. And the barrel, Pinocchio's nose, giving him away right there. Poor James, and this is just a finish. Every shot coming their way. That is definitely going to get the boys fired up, and take a look. Everybody showing some emotion right here.
That's their last timeout, Chad. That is what it has created. The fallout, the reverberation of a 3 versus 5 to go 2v5. Incredible scenes. It was Stown, of course, that contributed initially. Yabi and Cadian to close it out, but yeah, I'd take a timeout too. Heroic has just proven to themselves that they're playing their game their way.
This is going to get difficult now. Outsiders, again, are still going to be able to keep these AWPs alive, which is standard. I believe that was dropped from Kick It over towards James to make it a possibility. They're just going to have pistols here, and it isn't even a full investment. You can see a bit of cash carried through from several Outsiders members. This isn't an all-in. They're playing a bit of a longer game here, as to be expected.
Yeah, par for the course.
But they've already lost a 4-spy-ish type round so far, so as Heroic turn all 5 members towards this A site, it is really just Kick It here. He will have contributions from jungle and connector quite swiftly, but if it's a full exec with all the smokes, all the bells and whistles, it's going to be hard for Outsiders to play ahead of this. They don't have their own utility to cause these gaps. But James, reading the play, is in a bit more of a forward position to try and punish here.
You know those ghost orbs you were talking about? I imagine this might be one of those situations where Heroic just don't know. He could be anywhere.
And that's why you want to execute. So the biggest issue could be if he was close A ramp or something along those lines. They just have to negate him with his utility, and they're out.
Yeah, a lot of info. Flit does very well to find the leveling frag through that smoke. An even exchange, but pressure applied. They will bring the bomb through. Tessus, good onto Flit. That was a big one to find just as the smoke does plume. And now the bomb planted, decisions to be made as well for Outsiders. As you said, it was not the full investment. Fame's been very passive in his stance on mid, so maybe containment the name of the game. Heroic will exit as a pack. And Fame's going to get a little bit of a face full if he rounds that corner. Okay, answers given.
Yeah, I think he's seen enough there, so trying to back off completely here. James is still stuck in towards CT spawn, and it doesn't look like they're going to be coming his way. So saving that AWP, we know it's priority number 1, and that will be confirmed here as they're going to dance away back down towards that A ramp. And we'll keep 7 players alive in round 24. And they should be able to get the buy coming through now. Fame can drop an M4, Flit should be able to buy one of his own, and everything should be looking pretty sunshine and rainbows over there for Outsiders. Now they still have this 2-round lead, and look, this is a discussion point on the desk as well, is about Kick It, who is the sidekick to James. Those 2 individuals were in the grand final of Berlin back in 2019. So the experienced members here. But Kick It, he had a pretty miserable Challenger and Legend stage, and then coming into the playoffs, he's elevated his level slightly, but right here, right now, he is somewhat missing. Only 8 kills. The rest of the server are getting the contributions. They're getting exactly what they're paid for, but can Kick It be the difference maker here in the pressure moments?
That's what we're about to find out. Stown's going to be very brave to round that corner, considering how occupied it is. You got that same Fame and Flit duo. Should you brave the turn of the corner? Now, we won't be doing it alone. You can see they're partnered up top mid. This setup looks good. Nade is better. Onto Shush, down to 50.
Look at how long they're holding onto their smokes for here on the CT side. They're using their forward position with the bodies, so they do not have to drop the smokes, which means now as we get into this 1 minute mark, they can block for as long as they'd possibly like. Norbert still has one. As soon as he makes any contact, he should be dropping this smoke. And they've gambled away, so kick it as I mentioned. Normally the A anchor is playing over towards B here.
It seems like Outsiders got their finger on the pulse. They're very aware and in tune with what Heroic, or where Heroic are positioned. You can see James has actually put himself at the front of the pack. The spearhead of the assault cuts off Stown.
Well, where that came from.
Yeah, and he's in time for this peak. Oh, Cadian out-orcs one. Good whack from Flit. Multi-kill massacre in the underpass, and Kickert with 3. Comes online in the grand final, of course.
Yeah, a bit of a murder box down there towards the underpass. There was really no way forward. You could just see how many bodies would deal with that, but that is for 14, and this is Kickert on the jump up. Gets himself up to the double digits with the rest of the team right there. So not a pressure moment, but some big kills and obviously some confidence-boosting kills right here. That right there, you could just see the stoic nature with that utility meant there were so many positions that Heroic couldn't function.
You've been an in-game leader before, Chad. Cadian, James, some of the most seasoned and exciting in-game leaders in modern Counter-Strike. Do you ever get into a position where you feel like the other guy's just got your number? He knows how you're thinking. He's in your head.
Yeah, sometimes you can really be feeling the flow of the game, and this is actually better than outplaying opponents with the ability to shoot them in the head, is out-calling them, out-positioning. The best rounds is where we can get into a bomb site and we don't have to kill everybody.
Which both of these teams do.
Precisely. That right there is the mind games, and that can start to stew and manifest. And, well, we do have a MAC-10 in the hands of Shush here. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing anything too fast out of the gates. If they maybe could use a top mid smoke and try and spiral quickly in towards connector. A pace change wouldn't go awry.
Yeah, and actually James gone for a very interesting angle to post up on mid. Now Yabi's the only one there other than Shush. And he's already past that line. Maybe Flit's going to be a little less prepared than normal for something so quick. If distraction is, well, thrown as it is towards the ramp side, and Shush out, about, and oh, doesn't clear his corners. Damage onto Flit, info as well. James never caught out. Yabi meets his fate at the hands of James. Only 3 for Heroic, a 3 versus 5 once, yes, but Lightning, will it strike twice? Stown does with an opening. Trying to plant, hectic, good fight back. Stown onto Fame, Cadian's back, his turn is kicking again, and only Stown. A lot of damage done. 3 in the round, but Outsiders, they're up to 15. This is their map pick, and they are showing us why this defense has been brutal. Everything Heroic try, it seems like there's a remedy, there's an answer, there's an antidote in Outsiders' defense.
That response time there was fantastic as well. Everybody there to help trade out over towards that side. It meant there was no moment for Stown to take a breath. Nobody from Heroic could sit here and pause. And this was after those 2 opening exchanges came in. So really, really good work from Outsiders here. A decent attempt from Stown. You question what's possible if he had a couple more bullets in that 8K, but that's run dry. And the final buy from Heroic has as well. Rifle sure, but util, it's not existing. Who needs to make the play? Who's going to step up?
Oh.
Yabi with a massive shot onto Flit there.
That is special. Everyone is a real sharp individual. It's the reason they're in the grand final. But who can do it when it matters most? It seems Shush can too.
Well, call it off, call it off. Outsiders, you don't have to get involved in this. And classically, they will give this one over. But how much damage do they want to inflict? Remember, we're at the tail end right now of map number 1. Giving away any guns on either side is going to be extremely costly. And Yabi, well, he's been sent forward. The dog being left off the leash.
We are playing the game within the game.
A run boost right now towards spawn. So they're using every trick in the book here to make sure that they can avoid this AWP's first shot. And Yabi, if he clears his corners, he might take another.
He's very close to Norbert's head. He's just hit the body.
Well, that confirms where they are right now. You can't really give away any more guns here if you're Heroic. Maybe one, right? Maybe you could have a conversation, give away one more fight, sure.
Good. Is there an upgrade for that Galil? Cadian's got time to go shopping and does find it, so...
But no AWP.
Yeah.
They won't have that as a possibility on the other side of the server where James, he will retain his.
He's just got that name value respect as well. Oh, who's saving? You press tab. Oh, it's him, and he has plenty of cash. The James special.
Yeah, and this is, it does actually get a bit strange with James. Like, in certain situations, he will make sure that he retains enough money so he can have an all, like, hey, I can drop 2 M4s and we can all buy. How about I drop 1 M4 and so I can still buy an AWP if it all goes wrong, right? They quite literally use this like the queen on a chessboard.
Here's an example.
Yeah, Kick it with the USP.
$4,000. He's got $4,000 and Kick it's running in with the USP.
They're going to rush B. Well, this is a nice pace change. Heroic now starting to feel themselves here. Norbert trying to get back in time, but they should be in.
The smokes will land. He throws out his own. He's going to try his hand at a bit of a defense. A solo hold. Norbert, big frag.
Oh!
2 out of Norbert. Shushan's down will silence the initial response, but the cavalry still canters in. Flick goes wide. Bomb to be planted. Kick it to distract. Recovers a pistol and a rifle. Equipped now. A 3-on-3. This is a brawl. And this is for all the marbles on Mirage. Quick back from Flick. Heroic tapping heads down. Still in Ushans with 20 HP. Goes down and only Cadian can save them. Kick it and James for the map. In this grand final, easy peasy, lemons are squeezed. It's outsiders up on the first map. Heroic crumble. Sets the stage for quite the game, Chad. We've got a good map pool for this. Inferno Decider, will we see it?
This is what I signed up for right here, a competitive match. The map falling in favor of Outsiders, sure, but Overpass up next. And in this tournament thus far, Heroic have already beaten the Outsiders. So Inferno, that third, likely on the docket.
Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to the last semi-final here at the arena. NRG and Astralis. Moses, you ready for this game? We're going to start on train.
Oh, this is going to be absolutely beautiful. That Astralis we saw yesterday is so dangerous.
I think Astralis is back, and I think they're going to win this series 2-0 and prove it.
Astralis, they win the first major championship, 16-14 against Spartan Pro.
You'll face it, London's major champions. It's Astralis.
Intel Extreme Masters, champion, major, back-to-back, Astralis again. That can't possibly be real.
Get ready for the DHL drop at the IEMRIO Major. Grab yourself a DHL drop sign and customize it with your message, and make sure we spot you in the crowd. If you are lucky, one of our special deliveries is coming your way. And for all of you watching at home, type !DHL drop in chat now.
It's time for the DHL drop, and we've got plenty of boxes to give away. And guess we've got no one better to do it other than our DHL ambassadors, Fur and Fallen. They'll be choosing some signs out in this crowd, giving away the boxes to the best sign in their eyes. Guys, we can start looking at some of these signs. Look at them go. Who's got the best one? What do we got? All right, first chosen one. First box delivered. Some goodies out for all of you. T-shirts firing up as well. Who's got another good sign? Who's going to get picked out? Fallen's having a look around. All right, let's get back to the desk. Let's have some fun.
Yes, the DHL drop. Had to turn around and watch it on the Jumbotron myself. Ultimately, cool stuff. You know, we actually had some winners from Cologne make it all the way down here to Rio, which was pretty cool.
Where's your sign?
Well, I signed.
They took it away from you.
They did. They did take it away from me, and ultimately they took it all away because the first map of the series is over. Welcome back, everybody. It's the Intel Extreme Masters Grand Final, a best of 3. We're one map deep. We're going to try to break it all down for you all. Wait a minute. Hey, Rio, what's up? Hey.
There we go.
There you go. Hey, I like that. That works out. Cool. So we're going to be doing a little bit of breakdown here. I don't know how long I'll have you all, but let's do it. Mirage is done and dusted, Yanko.
Yeah, we were talking about it, you know, Trace, how important it is to control Outsiders' economy early, and I feel like if Heroic doesn't lose that pistol round, they can win the half 10-5, 11-4, right? But it doesn't really go that way. I think we could see some of the nerves early on, right? Jame, for example, some of those early post plants, he's jumping around, he's struggling to find like a good angle, a good fight. I feel like he definitely thinks he should have done and could have done more in that first half.
It took Outsiders a good 7 to 8 rounds to fully activate and start playing the game. We saw James missing shots that was a little bit uncharacteristic for him, who's supposed to be reliable. And funnily enough, it's Fame, the rookie, the actual rookie who was the first one to really put his best foot forward, have a couple of impactful clutches. It's just a treasure. I mean, this guy's going places. He's going to be a star if this is how he behaves on the stage in the final of a major.
I am super impressed by Fame and his performance. These are the stats, and he started off like 0-5 as well in this game. You know, didn't have a lot of good looks early on, but stepped up tremendously in a couple of rounds, whether it was entries or trades, just super sharp in aim duels and a difference maker on this first map, Trace.
Yeah, Mirage, you know, it brought about some answers to the questions that we were kind of posing before we jumped into the map. And ultimately, I look at it in terms of perhaps maybe the mid fight. You know, Maniac, I'll kick it to you. We'll get Yanko set up. But ultimately, the mid fight for you, what did it look like?
Yeah, I think we painted a picture about the need for Heroic to contest middle for Outsiders. That was one of the keys. In some of these rounds, they had relative success. It was early on in the match, indeed. They did challenge a little bit, but this is where Outsiders is strong. If they see it's not going to work once, then they're just going to fall back, and they have another plan that's coming in behind. But we had a couple of occasions where Heroic did the job middle.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Hey, Yanko, I'm going to throw it to you over there.
Here it is, Trace. Yeah, I think we were talking about in the pregame, Maniac, you know, what are they going to do? Maybe mid-fights early on. It's hard to do when you don't have the economy, but here you can see after the Outsiders 3-0 start, reset round, what does Heroic do? Pay attention straight away here. 2 guys are going to go fast con. You're going to see these 2 guys go up cat fast. Some support in terms of utility for them as well, but they're going for that mid crunch. Molly behind the boxes. Flash, you see 4 players, 5 players, everyone from Heroic was there pretty much early on. You're going to see the kills, and this was their game plan, right? It was good. We talked about it. They needed to do more. The problem was at times they didn't have the economy, and Outsiders, as you would, win a couple of tough rounds. You know, that sort of a half bite that they won really stifled the momentum for Heroic.
Yeah, that momentum, grab onto it.
Look, if you think about it, what is the most dangerous part of playing against Heroic? It's to see them catch on fire. That is the most dangerous part you can have in that matchup, to give them multi-kills. I'm a little bit surprised that Outsiders trying to play this round so early on, because it falls right into Heroic's trap. Having a little feisty, box-matchy kind of middle, they realized after that, that's not what we need to do. We need to slow down. We need to play dispatch. We need to play the slow pace. They went back to their bread and butter, and this is when they started having the impact.
Yeah, and those impact, you know, it can be felt. It has ripple effects. You know, we're not just looking at these rounds in consideration of just isolated things that happen. It has a ripple effect. It carries on further, Yanko.
Yeah, most definitely. And, you know, even if we talk about the second half and Heroic off to a good start, right, winning the pistol round, and then what happens? They lose against the Force Buy, right? You really can't let that happen against a team like Outsiders. Like, you have to take advantage of winning the pistol and keeping their economy low, right? Look at the position from Fame here.
That's beautiful. That's just beautiful. Well, James waiting with the scout, of course, but you have that stack coming in, and this is the round that Heroic to win. And that's such a sneaky angle, but also one that you have to trust, not only in your crosser placement, but your spray ability. That's the Famous. That's 2 kills. That shuts off the attack on its own.
But Matthew, which other team would have 2 FAMASes in the second round? How do they have 2 FAMASes? They have 2 FAMASes and a scout, right? It doesn't make any sense. And Norbert, his flank was instrumental, right? Gets the bomb, gets the AK, and the round completely falls apart for Heroic.
Yeah, you know, in Mirage, as quickly as it ended, almost 16-12 was the scoreline. We look at Overpass as a second map in this series. Now, there is history here, isn't there, Maniac?
Yeah, there absolutely is, Trace, but I'm going to throw you a curveball if you allow me to.
Oh, God.
I don't think we did Fame enough favor in this dash. I don't think we've paid enough respect to what he's done. And we need to pinpoint the moment with Fame. When he really put his legend in the game, right? You have to see the situation, 2 versus 2, and James is going to display a little bit of mistake here. You could call it the nerves, you could call it the curiosity. He dies like a silver right here. That's what happens. And Fame is put in a position where he has to do or die, and here it comes. He's got 4 kills at that moment, only 4 kills, and he's been patient, peeks up first kill, and then pulls back very naturally. Cadian even loses track of Fame after this. He's persuaded that he went towards the side. That's not the case, and Fame is going to put him in a box. That is a 1 versus 2 for Fame. The scoreline is 5-5. Now, you fast forward to the next round, and the impact isn't done. We have an A execute coming in from Outsiders. Tesis is coming in with the flank. This is a round-winning flank. He's going to find the kill onto the AWP, unsuspecting. Immediate trade coming in from Fame with the Galil, an actual Galil, and that is round-winning.
The Galil, who would have known?
Absolutely disgusting, and this is why Fame was bailing out his captain in some of these early rounds, Trace. I mean, that
incredible.
clutch 1v2, incredibly important. Tessus, if that trade wasn't this fast,
over.
He wins the round for Heroic as well. That's really, excruciating losses for Heroic, and you could tell, right, why we said James a bit flustered in some of those post plans, right? Like, jumping around. There's no need. Just like take a deep breath, right? Calm it down a little bit. So, yeah, happy to see that Outsiders managed to pull it all the way back despite those things.
Yeah, it is that trio that we kind of discussed, kind of isolated into Fame, James, and Flit. And obviously that brings us to our DHL MVP. And before we do jump into that second map of Overpass, we started to discuss a little bit. Ultimately, what it comes down to is using your Twitch channel points to vote. And we will catch up with that winner at the end of the grand final. That's right, it is the DHL MVP in combination with the ESL Pro Tour. A lot to take in right here and a lot of good candidates too. So make sure you get your votes in, get activated. Now's the time to do so within the Twitch chat. You know you're just sitting there at home anyway. You might as well type something good into the Twitch chat rather than the nonsense that we usually see.
Get involved. Get involved. Cast your vote. Have a voice, use it.
Yeah, that's the point. That's what we're doing.
That's even the Twitch point.
Yeah, use your Twitch point. Yeah, nailed that. Norbert, how about this guy? Where is he at?
I don't think he's really in the MVP race. Like, he's more of a X factor, right? He's more of a guy who steps up when you expect it the least.
Yeah, it's just hard to look away from the trio. That's really what's kind of carrying the torch for me when I look at the Outsiders.
No, you're completely correct, Tris. Listen, the numbers don't lie. You have Fame on 24, you have James on 23, and Flit on 23 as well. That is the Bermuda Triangle of Outsiders who showed up in spades here in the first map.
I thought you disappeared if you go to the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, that's what happened to Heroic.
Oh, yeah. Got him.
Got him. And if you're looking for silver lining for Heroic, right? They look at this game, they lose the pistol in the first half, they lose the force buy, which is even to a force buy in the second half, which is even worse. There's that Fame 1v2, there's the half buy win towards, or 2 of them really in the first half as well. So it's been pretty sloppy from Heroic, and it was still a 16-12 game, which is relatively close, right? And go back to the Furia game from yesterday. Also sloppy on the first map, they lose their own map pick, right? And then they come back into it and pretty much take control of the series, right? So if you're Heroic, that's what you're telling your players right now. Guys, we've been here yesterday, not before, yesterday. Let's just kind of, focus up and let's get this done.
But is that how you feel? Do you feel like this was a close game? I feel like Outsiders, as soon as they got to 13, I felt like they engage the outsider mode, which is we're going to take it easy, we're in control, we're not going to spread or buy too fast.
It's true, but the way they got to 13, it wasn't as convincing. Like, there were a couple of rounds there. You know, remember the round where Kickert runs back and like gets the deagle kill on Tessis, who doesn't see the bomb. Like, there's so many. I mean, to be fair, also in the first gun round, he didn't see the guy that was flanking there. I don't know what's going on with Kickert and his eyes. Maybe put some water on your face, mate. Like, you know, freshen up. But yeah, I think, you know, obviously, if you're heroic, that's what you're going for. But man, I trust James, and I feel like after such a big loss and such a miserable T-side the first time around on Overpass, he's going to have answers for this one.
Yeah, we looked at that other matchup between these two teams on Overpass throughout the other stage of this event, and well, yeah, the result was 16-9 in the way of a heroic. You can't deny that. Ultimately, we do come back, we do go to a break, we do all the things that we have to do first and foremost before maybe, just maybe, the Outsiders hoist a major trophy here in Rio. We cut to that break, we'll be RB.
Hey, Taco!
Match point phase. They are on the cusp of winning this major. And you said Cloud9, if they wanted to do it, they'd have to do it the hard way. And he's taken down. Tarek is not done with this major yet. Here it is, Tarek! They stay alive for one more round. It's Cloud9 again. Again, they stay alive. Timeout here from FaZe. And they definitely need it. Cloud9 are dangerous no matter the situation. Comes in, but so does the rotation. Maestro has been taken out towards the B bomb site. Nothing else is going on. He's got to go back. Stewie's on his own. But look at the time. Look at the time. There's 7 seconds in front of us. They're trying to build coordinates, but it's not play. Stewie's on the roll. We're going to overtime. They came back all the way.
Ich sitz auf meiner Fensterbank, die Nacht zieht vorbei. Ich blicke über den Tellerrand, trinke Sekt auf Eis. Ein Teufel und ein Engel tanzen auf dem Parkett. Vielleicht sind wir unsterblich, müssen nie wieder weg. Ich sitz auf meiner Fensterbank, die Nacht zieht vorbei. Ich blicke über den Tellerrand, trinke Sekt auf Eis. Ein Teufel und ein Engel tanzen auf dem Parkett. Vielleicht sind wir unsterblich, müssen nie wieder weg. Backpack, Kippen und Drinks gegen Tristesse. Großstadtbild, komm mir nicht weg. Kopf fragt, mach kein Pisstest, nein. Ich will nicht auf deine Party gehen. Engel und Teufel tanzen schwansee. Von deinen Lippen tropft der Chardonnay. Ich küss ihn weg, bevor du schlafen gehst.
I just had a moment with James and he explained me a little bit about the video. Why did the teams decide to go for the maps that are actually good for both of the teams? He said that they barely had any time to prepare because they played until late. So they both went for the maps that they know how their opponents play. Also, they feel that right now, since they're going to be playing Overpass and it's the map pick of Heroic, they should be all good because this time they are starting on City side.
The CT side, as Haku has outlined. Yes, we've seen Outsiders Heroic on this map before. It's map 2, baby. Grand finals. We crown a new champion today, Chad. But Overpass A different kettle of fish now.
That right there from Heku is the key detail going into this matchup. 16-9 last time round, sure, but Heroic starting on the CT side, they went to 13-2 run. That is a massive bag. To then only have to pick up 3 rounds on the T side to close things down into best of 1, that is just like putting it in. So Heroic, they are now up against this wall. If James feeling confident about this going into the most CT-sided map of the major, they have to be feeling good.
I mean, they got to be feeling good as well with Fame at the top of the scoreboard. Everyone pulling their weight. Outsiders looking to realize that potential they've had this whole time. Forced to change roster and still in a grand final.
But this is where the Fakey boys get up to their fruity move.
Oh,
this is a map where Heroic love to play with the expectations and make some very, very strange late round decisions that throw most teams for a bit of a loop.
It's the biggest map in the pool, and it leads to a lot of interesting mid-rounds. I'm going to be very intrigued to see how this plays out. Now, could this be Fame on the jiggle, catching immediate flak? Gooshed down to 3 HP on the Glock 2 USP. And oh God, Cadians works just as well. Long range, eliminates Flit, and they're coming in. No smoke, no mirrors, brute force, straight through. Charging, wrapping around the smoke, guiding one of them. Kicker does go down, takes one with him. Gap on that smoke. Shush is vulnerable. Norbert on the site does have a kit, and they're not ready for him. Unaccounted for. Back to turn. Only the one body drop. Still 3 versus 2. Favors Heroic for this pistol, and especially now. Tessus has taken Jame out, and it was Fame that got his head rocked, and now knocking off his stop is Tessus.
Wow, that pistol round means an awful lot. And look at the captain there of Heroic getting extremely fired up. This is twofold. We're 1 map down. We need to focus, but the T rounds, as we mentioned, are going to be worth their weight in gold. So the pistol with the conversion, this could be massive for Heroic to take this to a 3rd map of play. It's very difficult in the first round of a map to be getting hyped about something, but it is really important for them to be picking up these key rounds, and they're getting outsiders into an eco in the follow-up. So that is 2 guaranteed immediately. You go into what Heroic have done well, punishing the first gun rounds, right? Playing with MAC-10s, playing in your face, snowballing the economy early. This is the key to Heroic to get themselves a decent bag of rounds in this first half of play on their map choice.
Super interesting from Cadian as well. He actually opted to invest his funds off his frag into an AK-4 Stout. Happy to take the MAC-10, put the sharpest tool on the biggest gun.
Well, we have seen him run a bit more of a classic, right? This is where Heroic slightly differ from that of outsiders, right? Jame is more likely going to be in the backlines and all this. Cadian's happy to put himself forward and make the call from the front of the pack, right? If he goes in, he spots a couple, maybe he gets a kill or 2. He still has enough information to pull the strings and feed the information to the rest of his teammates for the finish. But it's a stack towards B here.
He's going to get a lot of information if he rounds that corner, Chad, just as you've discussed. I mean, it'd be great to get a couple on the MAC-10, but if he spots out the majority of this force, they are going to just charge that bomb.
Norbert has a flash. It may be desperate for Yabi here.
Nothing, not a wiggle, not a single move. Long range, MAC-10, Cadian thinks better of it. Fight is given off the flash, Yabi down. Good contribution from Kickit, makes a degree of profit off the back of the flash. Same nade, different outcome. Flit flattened by 2 of them. Beautiful.
How quick did that nade feel like it appeared on the screen?
Yeah.
That just popped in his face
It was
right
like
there.
a full Pokemon POV.
That was wild. Okay, well, I know that was just a lighter investment. Sure, actually, the investment, it didn't really exist, right? It was that one flash, but it felt like that kill with the USB should have been a little bit cleaner there to punish Yabi's crawl. Now, they are getting the purchasers back in, and as mentioned, Outsiders going for the 3rd round buy. That means they will be missing the Jame AWP. Now, Jame, with his opening kills, he's been an absolute monster. When he gets the opening frag, they convert 75% of the rounds in the tournament thus far. So we'll keep our eyes on him.
As we should. A little aggressive stance for now. And he's actually committed to this. Not all that common on your first gun to have someone so invested and committed. If you lose party control, you are trapped. Assuming Yabi holds fast on Monster. It's a Fame Jame double setup. Fun to say, even more fun for them to play. Norbert on the jiggle, hasn't received any info, but they're going to force that info. They'll fire off shots, so Norbert's attention's drawn, and that information is relayed.
They're going straight back towards B, so there's something that they like. Now, Tessus is lining up a front of A site lurk smoke here to deny some information, but because they're ahead of it with this stance, it doesn't mean a whole lot. They'll hear it plume, they'll go, okay, well, there's nothing here, we don't have to worry, and that might free up, well, no rotation. Actually, Cadian's walking into this in connector.
Yeah, I mean, No barrels betrayed him. Fame, oh, he's got his back turn. Cadian caught out, but Yabi did open up the B site, so Flick called upon. Oh, Plucks, Shush on the leap. Repositioning to ensure they have a crossfire.
Norbert's flanking again here.
This is brilliant out of Outsiders. They've got him locked in. And that's the finish. He sprays down one. A lot of damage onto Stown. His ears are ringing, his hands are shaking, and this round is surely the Outsiders. Stown takes him down. Bit of team damage. 3 to find, and Flit will finish. That's lovely. Well handled by the Outsiders. Considering there wasn't that knee-jerk reaction you were talking about, they were late to rotate, but you couldn't tell.
But this is where the mind games of these two in-game leaders and the prep work that they've done for one another. They did that run boost out long, they saw nothing, and the immediate decision was, okay, well, we've seen enough to at least give us the informed chance to head back towards B. But that double connector setup, it obviously wasn't accounted for, right? Cadian wasn't aware of that whatsoever, so he dies in the back. They immediately can spring to action. They're quick on that, and Norbert as well. He doesn't skip a beat, immediately pushing forward and cutting off any way back.
This is an interesting one. Fame throws some CT aggression. Forward position onto the staircase, and as with overpass, it does tend to be quite tidal. You know, you're going to see CTs go forward, you'll see them go back.
Well, that's the makeup of this map, right? The fact that you spawn in A, right? You get an opportunity to go forward, throw your disruptive utility, slow down the default of the Ts, and okay, have a bit of a looky-loo. Kick it through the monster tunnel, doesn't see an awful lot.
This is that proactive defense. You know, the Death talks about it for both of these teams. The way they approach the CT side is you really do have to stop the default. Otherwise,
look at this crawl here, right? So they're not announcing their presence with the front bathroom smoke or the divider Molotov, and the information for Kick It actually has freed up Jame on the rotation. So they will be slinking forward like a snake into these two defenders.
Perfect smoke. Look what it's going to do to them. You either go wide or you wait.
They might have to go wide here. That is actually quite a stifling smoke. So it's actually going to give Fame an opportunity to tuck in tight.
This is cheeky. Okay. I like your move, Jame. Can Fame, flash, should be dead, does find it, Tesses. Gives them a leg up, 40 seconds, they can go anywhere they want with this. He does drop some disruptive utility. Implies his absence of knowledge as to where the body of the assault is coming from. Anyone can hit a spray here. 10 bullets left in the mag, Jame good for the one. It's still Norbert, still hitting shots on that. Galil, nearly 3, Tesses has got the better and got the third. A 2-on-2, Flit rotates, Kick It through connector. Kit on Kick It. Cadian and Tessus, I mean, he's come in hot, hasn't he? Tessus, 8 frags to the good. And he's not done yet. Might be on to Cadian as well. Tessus is going to have to be aware of that flank and the front. And he's opting for bankside. Cadian's aware that's a possibility. Kick It loud. May draw Cadian's attention, and it has. Perfect execution. Tessus, no. You cannot. Clutch up as well. 4 frags. Dancing with Kick It just in time, though. The Outsiders will rise into a 2-2 scoreline.
Tessus with 4 kills. They're hitting some absolute bangers, hitting some massive shots. And Cadian, you could see they're caught off guard. So they heard that play from Kick It. He made some steps. I think Tessus communicated it. Cadian either has to take one of 2 choices there. I bait my teammate, I leave him when he's lonesome, or I need to, well, try and cover him off. And he went for the cover option here, maybe a little bit more selfish in nature, and they could have converted this round, but a great attempt from Tessus as we do get this back in the highlights.
I don't have a name for it, but there is this kind of common situation. Great shot, right? But there is this situation in Counter-Strike where by giving information, by relaying information, your players will react to it. And it's always at that point, sometimes really good players can exploit that. You know, they know the teammate's going to be communicating, relaying the new position, and it can draw attention. It can be another metric by which you can find success.
Well, another conversation that we've been having throughout is Dustin taking these early timeouts. So now we're going to round number 5. He did it on round number 3 in the previous map, and I remember when we were casting some of their other games, they took these early timeouts as well. So again, setting the agenda in the early stages. Heroic already have the 2 rounds. It was celebrated the pistol with the conversion, but this is where the hard work starts. And they're actually opting to force buy in. They're not allowing Outsiders to get too far ahead in the economy game. So again, same as Mirage, Heroic have to find a couple of kills and potentially a plant here to make this worthwhile.
Yeah, you can understand why they don't want Outsiders having a big pillow of cash to sleep their head upon.
Or the scout to long here, potentially.
Yeah, James should have him, and does. Onto Tessus, fullback, AWPing, a chance. Does go by the wayside for Cadian, and James thinks better of a second.
What was that stat line I brought before? Opening kills, I think 75% of the rounds converted when James does find them.
And he's one of the front runners for openings in general on this for the boys.
Yeah, there's 4 massive contributors here. Well, there's another one. Fame's been fantastic in this department as well. Having so many individuals who are happy to stand and fight, hold their ground. you don't just need one individual to send out as the tip of the spear. You've got multiple spears to work with.
Oh, Yabi, no way he's ready for that one. Fame, a forward position. It's just a lovely balance. Outsiders, they're dancing this dance of aggression and passive.
Hello.
That's the aggression we're talking about. He makes it hurt. Cadian really in trouble with 10 HP. All of his teammates gone, and he's got 40 seconds as James coming for you. A missed shot, a nice frag, does actually force the AWP out of his hands. Likely to be retrieved.
Trying to throw it away, maybe?
Trying to throw it away, yeah. Kick it. Keeps it in play. Will be retrieved. All good in the James hood, and we are keeping track. As Heroic will be forced into a taste of humility.
Yeah, this is going to suck now because, as I mentioned, it had to be somewhat costly, and it wasn't. And when we look at the scoreboard, this is where the issues are starting to crop up in. There's the James opener. Seems extremely easy. No rumbers, no flash, nothing to force him off the line. He just continues to pluck them apart here. But you take a look, you've got 1 kill apiece for Stown, Yabi, and Shush. I know that Stown took Tassus out, so I guess that's 2, right? If we're talking about kills overall, that's 3. But as far as positive frags go, he only has 2 to his name, and we know that he needs to be a factor. But this T-half, as long as they get themselves the bar of about 4 or 5, it should be enough based off of the information we have of the head-to-head last time round.
The CT side was amazing.
Precisely, to make this a very competitive matchup and potentially take us to that 3rd. Whereas outsiders know, we need to put up the wall, and now. We do not have a moment where we can let this slip too far. I'm sure they think they can come back regardless of the situation here.
Yeah, which is why that pistol was so celebrated for Heroic. I mean, credit to outsiders for so quickly dampening the mood for the red and white.
There's one flash here, so there's a chance to explode onto B.
Yeah, it's Norbert, Kicker, all in position. Flitz the one though, the draw blood. Stown's gone, trying to run him down. Good on the Glock. Shush, 1. Very light on options now, and especially with a shot like that, Flit massacres them, a full ace. As Heroic just head in hands, charging into that site. Flit's site though, makes it clear, using their own weapon against them with the AK-47. Quick work.
Yeah, they feasted a couple of times, haven't they, across these 2 maps against the lighter buys? I think it's Fame and Flit who are definitely putting those in their back pocket, and why the hell not? These are, once again, some of the easier rounds, but they're still kills. They're on the scoreboard, don't you worry about that.
Oh, a collateral. He kills Yabi through Cadian's skull. Artistic.
First time out for Heroic here, and that's knowing they're going into this gun round. So Cadian has that AWP, and throughout some of these matches, especially that Furia match yesterday on Ancient, we highlighted him buying in with that AWP, the pistols around it, the impact he found. It feels like he's going to have these show-up moments, and fortunately for Heroic, he has been here present in some of his absolute best career form, and this is a guy who's been playing at the majors since 2013.
Yeah, an incredible story, Cadian. First grand final for him, and has been a go at the counter wallbang. Shush swings through. Fame, very good. Shush is just better. Tap back from Norbert, but needs a mag, and everyone lives. This is an opening kill for Heroic. Now this is where they have to press that advantage, build upon it. Yabi doing some housekeeping, making sure no short info can be found. Now obviously booster available, but not currently occupied. Norbert jumps in. Oh wow. My God! Wow. Stown is straight inhuman. Who hits that?
All right, well, unless Flit gets a couple here, this could be the 3rd for Heroic now. The pressure is starting to come in his direction. Yabi, Tassus, Cadian, all bearing down right now.
Well, he's in the zone for sure. Flit too. He farmed up some ecos, but frags here would be a whole lot more valuable. What have you got for us? Brilliant opener. Takes down Tesses. Keeping outsiders in it. Keeping Yabi out of it. Does maneuver back. That's do Heroic.
He forced them away.
He's forced them off the site. This one-man defense.
James and Kicker are still here. Both of them.
And in perfect posture for this defense. Nade. Warning signs of what's to come. Heroic with a man advantage, but how long will that last? A miss out of James. Uncharacteristic kick it to be cleared. A perfect flash. It's Cadian that sets him up. Does that mark the round?
Looks like it.
And something I haven't brought up, but the perfect example with Cadian's flash assist there is that Cadian and James have 2 of the highest flash assists in the tournament, and you're going to see a lot of that. Both sides swapping. These AWPing in-game leaders setting up those breakpoints.
Well, right here, we need to really focus in on the next element of this matchup, right? We've spoken about the saves, we've spoken about the CT side of how it's going to be a little bit different. When you're outsiders and you lose the site, you need to hold on to these goodies, and they're locked in. The hunt is coming. The fight is there. Shush has spotted James out now. They want to remove this AWP from play, and James, he's not going down without a fight.
Gotta love that. Holds it on. A heroic round. 3 for that T tally. This.
Whew. Bit too much hang time right there, Mr. Norberto.
Yeah, didn't quite calculate his trajectory. Bang on the money. Shush as well. That was a perfect setup. You saw how, from Kickett's perspective, his counterplay was null.
Stowns was flashy. Shush's frags were more impactful.
Yeah,
he gets the opener, and he's able to take out Kickett to clear out the side and basically secure the round. So Stown, you can have the style points, but Shush, you can have the round attested to you there. Fantastic work as, well, another timeout now, and this is heroic again. So maybe they understand that the break point is available here because James and Flit, surviving, have dropped some rifles across. They've meant that they have another strong buy. Remember this CT wall. This is the most CT-sided map in the event thus far. So you're wanting to grab yourself, I would say, at least double digits, and if not, surely 9.
Right.
Anything's possible, especially in the context of a pressure matchup like this. We saw Heroic lose a 15-5 lead yesterday to go into overtime. Sure, then they converted, but we've already seen them have troubles in those type of situations. So all of this has to be kept in the back of the mind.
As do all of these lineups for your smokes across the 7 maps in the pool. Heroic geeks with it in the very best possible way.
They're just avoiding James. They're not going towards A at all. They're not even doing like any standard A default pressure. No smoke front bathrooms.
I love this.
The lurk smoke here. So Stown looking to clown.
He's very cheeky. Like Kickett's a bit passive. He hasn't been having the best grand final. Fires off shots, so they knew there was one a little ahead of the pack, but is that deception? You're coming towards James' domain, and he catches him out. Shush! Puts the leader on his ass. Clears the toilets. That's a big frag, a big scalp. Yabi the one to charge in. Gets info. Does catch lead. Shush nearly dead. Careful, Norbert's coming. As outsiders have taken the site. Back and forth, the pendulum swings now, considering B, but it's getting awkward. Very awkward. They've got one smoke, Chad. What do you possibly build into the site that already outsiders have bolstered and fortified? Smoke heaven. Flit's already on his pillar. Kicker, good for the frag. Stown will trade. Still a chance for these two Danes. Not anymore, because Flit's got another. Cadian on the floor. Rotate through. Stown, definitely robotic. He can tap some heads, but he's lost a lot of life, and Fame crawling through. Plays it to perfection. Outsiders 5, handling it there, and Heroic, despite that kill onto James, you'd think that would lead it to something.
Oh, precisely. I thought that was it. I thought the fact that Shush gets that kill, it's Shush again with an opener, and they just run in towards the site there, but the response time to lock it out was stuff from outsiders. And necessary shots being hit here, and this is Cadian getting ahead of himself. He thought that he had fooled the rotation. He thought that maybe there was a whole lot more bodies over towards that A side than there actually was. Now, it's not a quick rotation back by any means, especially if you're coming in through Monster, and Flit just dancing around buying the time eventually does fall. But still, Fame, he's looking good.
But use that death of Cadian as an example of why it's so exciting when players take space, you know, successfully. They make an assumption, a calculated estimate that this is going to be their best bet. This time didn't pay off for Cadian, but when it does, remember that. Remember when you do see misjudgment. At the highest level, we're in the grand final of a major. Still, players not quite getting their visualization right.
And again here, a purchase out of Heroic. So they've got 3 AKs, they've got a Tech 9, they've got a Mac 10. Now I want to say this might hint at something a little bit faster here. We saw Stown get a lot of room over towards that monster position with the lurk smoke. And they're not looking to do that again, so they could just operate this like a gun round, like take this standard map control. Okay, well that feint with the extinguish shows that there might be some A presence, but they're setting up towards the backyard of B, and it looks like outsiders want to get a bit pushy. Flit's actually pushed past the sandbag angle now and continues to search for information.
I like this. You can even just tuck in.
But this is not the right call. They've actually cheated a third man back over towards A here, so Kicker and Flit have to deliver, or they may lose the site easily.
Okay, Kicker, what's he got for us? He's safe from the flash and a panic smoke to at least divide.
Trading territory.
And he conquer. Good flash again. forces him into the pit. Flit, good frag back, good on Gabby. Just the Tech 9, all he needs, but Flit's such a problem. He is doing so much work for the outsiders, nearly takes down as well. Attack to the side of the skull as James gone, and this round is up for debate. Cadian onto Norbert, one-on-one, and Fame keeps outsiders in it. What was that?
Wow, so much trading there, and the bomb didn't go down at all. That actually really stings for Heroic. It looked great. They isolated the site that wasn't fortified. You can't be strong everywhere, and B, that was the right call. They get in, they get past, they get the kills, but they do not get that bomb down. And Heroic, you understand this point. They want to keep the pressure on because right now outsiders aren't building that economy, but this is how Fame just closes out, and it's easy. It's easier to close that out because the kills happen so fast. There's no mind games. You're letting this 19-year-old just play aim map, and that's where he's going to thrive.
Flit, though, coming into his own. He wants that grand final trophy.
They're really wrestling for this control, Alex. The fact that both teams are in this awkward situation, the Heroic buy with this AK. Again, they need to find something, but there's a Jame opener again into the AWP. They just waltz.
Yeah, that was a bit of a blare-up for Shush. Going to be feeling the ramifications of that as his team just kind of limps around the rest of this round.
This is the exact same amount of rounds they needed to close last time they played. But remember, they had that massive 13-2 haul on the CT side. I'm not sure 3 is going to be enough here for Heroic. There's a lot more rounds to work with still in this first half of play. But if outsiders just, they basically have their hand on their head. You're swinging if you're Heroic, but you're not landing.
Straight up Looney Tunes. I mean, down with this AK investment, you got to keep your eyes on that. You can see that it's not all sunshine and rainbows in the outsiders accountancy firm, but he has to do something with it. He has to be forcing rebuys, needs to get new rifles, Kevlar. He has to at least go down with a fight. Oh dear! Down, loses it all to Fame. Tessus will scavenge, but he's going to be hard-pressed to find anything. Outsiders already wrapping into this defense. They're everywhere. 4 on the site. Good luck, have fun. Heroic are going to be leaving this round with nothing to celebrate. A 7 for outsiders looms. And Kick at the 1 to try and seal their fate. A quick burst into Cadian's center of mass. And Tessus next on the chopping list. Oh, he's a-coming. 1 back from Yavi, but Kickett's a hunting.
This is a terrible idea from
Tessus. He's in so much trouble. Goes long range, easy frag, and an upgrade for good measure.
Well, I'm not quite sure what he was thinking there for a moment, because if he went down after time, right, they have max loss bonus, so he would have had enough money to buy an AK. Everything he had is there again. But if he went down after time, he wouldn't have. So that looked a little bit awkward for a second there.
Yeah, I think that's what Kickett's saying as well. I don't think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that looked a little bit funky, but sure, maybe there's something we didn't account for there. But Heroic now get back in with the buy. That loss bonus really working in their favor. It's going to look more traditional now with the map default, the map control. On a map like Overpass, you'd go 3 towards A, 1 connector, 1 babysitting the backyard of B. You want to get this party control, you want to at least post along to see what's home. You need that information to try and piece this puzzle together, and Jame has actually started over towards B in a very forward position, so continuing to look for these opening kills is Jame. He's already been able to get 2 to his name. He's only gone down in 1 of these exchanges.
They're death rolling, just a full 5-man pack. Now, in the current state of play, you can see they've got nothing to report on B, and so James going to maneuver over to join the double F.
He's been out-positioned, I would say, in a lot of these. And when I say he, I mean Cadian. Heroic have been going into the stacks what feels like pretty commonplace.
Oh, Flit. He's the first to attend to it. Very, very
Everyone's here, Alex.
Molotov. And yeah,
everybody, all 10
versus 5 deathmatch. Tessus to try and break the silence and breaks the neck of Norbert. Need more. Fame still on long. Molly won't last forever. Big fight to be had. It's a massacre. Heroic running out of options. It's Flit again with the double. And it's Fame for the finish. The flourish. 1 back from Yavi, but it is one-way traffic. Fame and Flit all 5.
Got their number here in a big way. In a big way. The fact that they can have 5 players on the site. Traditionally in that situation, you go in, you trade out 1 or 2 kills, you get the bomb down, and then you play the post plant. Well, again, they don't get the bomb down. The post plant doesn't exist. Outsiders will not allow it. And again, it's the information. You don't need the opening kill if you're Jame. You're sitting there, you can see straight through that tunnel. No one's on the left, no one's on the right, no one showing anything whatsoever, and then you make the, wow, educated gamble to stack this site and completely remove Heroic from yet another round of opportunity and back down to Squalor with these pistols. No longer it's about holding on and trying to keep it close as far as the economy fight goes. Outsiders are starting to spread their wings.
And spread their deegs will Heroic. Rather standard. Park Yabi towards Monster. Catch any CT pushes for aggression. A re-smoke. Yabi expecting nothing in the next 20. But as you discussed, 3 is insufficient. And Fame looks to keep it that way. Finds Shush in the toilets. No trade available, no potential for it. And Kickert will win his duel on Yabi as well. Just these isolated, independent duels.
Well, this is traditionally one of the least inspired ways that you can do a light buy scenario. Buy 5 deagles and hope that your aim prevails, right? That's where you're hoping that your individual brilliance is able to find a head, find the timing, find that kill to enable the round. And look, it's maybe not very tactically diverse, but you have a lot of skilled individuals on both sides of the server here. So it's worth an option, it's worth a shot, but none of them are landing so far. And Tessus will be the next to fall. It's just Cadian, last man standing. They know exactly where he is. And again, all 5 players have responded to this. Everybody here for Outsiders, and Cadian has to go down as he will take down Flit. That's a consolation frag as 9 now secured for Outsiders.
Whoa.
This is getting away from Heroic.
I mean, seriously, just looking at Flit and Fame combined with 30 frags.
It's not only that, the multi-kills for these guys is what's out of control, right? They're both 5 for Fame, 4 for Flit.
Yeah.
So every time that somebody's on their crosshair, they're killing 2, right? They're able to remove multiple bodies from the server round after round, and that right there is a huge difference maker as Heroic go into what is their 3rd tactical timeout. They've burnt through 3 in this first half of play, 1 remaining, and I don't think they'll take it in this half. It's likely going to be saved for the second. But if they only have 3 rounds to work with, that margin for error, it doesn't exist, and especially so if they lose the CT pistol when we swap halves. They are in the pressure cooker right now.
Yeah, this is actually running away from you. Individually, 30 frags between Flit and Fame, 32 amongst all 5 of Heroic. Sure, you're on the T side, but now or never. Grand final, you're in the pits. Already Outsiders have a map on you. You've got to post a T round. 3 feels like it's going to be a very uphill struggle once they do swap sides. Outsiders, they'll have a few tricks in the book in order to find the necessary T rounds when we do swap sides. Swapping nades, Tessus and Cadian trying to manifest a 4th. And so far, the Outsiders have just had their number, a full read of the approach. They did their homework. We heard from Heku's interview that felt like they didn't have time to prepare, so just went for the maps that both teams knew. Coming for you, Tessus, using the party access point straight down into the underpass. Flit a well-timed spray, but nothing to report. Concerned. Shush does catch a little bit of chip damage.
Mate, if Fame and Flit keep this up, these two are running for MVP against one another on the same team right now. This is a real conversation to be had, especially for Fame. First major, first grand final, and maybe first major trophy in that cabinet.
Mate, major MVP on your first major would be quite a storyline, and certainly establish a very juicy character in our world of Counter-Strike. This anime we keep living on in real life.
Again, the stacks here. Outsiders, 4 players on B and aggression in the monster tunnel.
Can we talk about Kickert? He's got Flit behind him, the nose flash ahead. Jame already makes down dead. Yabi puts his name in the feed. They need more. Bloodshed. Tessus puts 2 on the floor. It's not a guarantee when Norbert rains down terror from above. 9 seconds. Cadian will try his luck at a plant. Fame from short side. He's safe from it. Can he come up clutch when he needs to? The answer, a resounding no. It's Norbert. 3 beautiful frags. And especially with all of that effort coming out of the monster pipe, Tessus, Yabi, they gave it a good shot. But Outsiders up to 10.
That's favorable trading until Norbert happens. Yeah. This is the supportive element, right? We're talking about these individuals in the team, Fame, Flit, who'll kick it with the experience. Jame on the AWP. Well, there's the opener. Another one. keep adding that to the stat line when James gets the opener and the conversion. But Norbert happens. That is massive from heaven. And at that point, what are you meant to do? You think you're dealing with so many bodies, but I said it. Once you're getting through, you think you get some respite. You're getting none. Outsiders, everybody always there to address the problem.
Just a fewer mistakes. These boys are just playing a perfect game. 12 would be great. Flit an opening. Shush already down on the wall bang. He's been trying his luck this time. Successful. Oh, Tessus doesn't convert. Fame's being locked in from both sides. Tessus on party. Cadian with the bomb, times it well to at least level the odds. Ties us up in a 4-on-4. Yabi, a different approach this time. Prioritizing Monster. Oh my God, Flit, you can't be getting two of those. Yabi, what a gap. What a gap! Incredible presence of mind from Yabi to enter the site just as he knows the wallbang's being taken. If he could only get Flit, we'd have a sight, we'd have a round, tapping away, dancing with him. Light on bullets. Flit chips further away at him. He's very resilient on this site. And Heroic going elsewhere. Oh my Lord, James gonna have a freebie onto Tessus. And the rest just falling into place for this defense. Look at their health. 40 HP between the two. Nade, careful, it's down, evades it, down on 8 HP. James can catch Cadian right here. Oh, a bad spray, another round. Cadian lets it go.
Look at the aim from both of these teams right now. Yabi whiffing some shots after that initial kill onto Kicker. You can see how many opportunities he had to take Flit out of the picture. And then again from Cadian, the pressure, it is building right now. Hey, hold on, it's not building, it is here. This is Heroic's opportunity. They've made it to the quarterfinal of the major, the semifinal of the major. This is their first grand final, and they're the ones under pressure now. Outsiders playing without an issue.
It takes pressure to form a diamond, and Flit and Fame shining bright on the grand final stage. James eats the flash, backs away. These boys are not feeling an ounce of the pressure Heroic try and throw their way. One gun round, all they have to boast. And the head-to-head, Fame. Oh, he wants to knock your head. Careful, one tap. Thinks it's enough. Concedes long control.
They really are playing like there's nothing different, right? Every decision they're making, they're very procedural about it. Crosshair placement perfect. The aim's been there. Outsiders are not phased by this environment whatsoever.
This has to work. It's down, crawls through the smoke. Norbert attends to it exactly as he needs to. Not a single point of damage inflicted to this defense.
And there's 4 on A again. They're just ahead of the play every single time. James is living in Cadian's head rent-free.
Oh, and just a perfect frag. Yabi betrayed by the legs under the smoke. This is falling so perfectly into place.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts right now. Every single one of these rounds. Heroic, it seemed close. The score was 6-3. The game still seemed close. But now, it feels grim.
So aware. Any trick, they're aware. It needs individual brilliance. It needs one of these two to step up. Otherwise, it's going to read 12, and it's the same Groundhog Day on overpass. Yep, Norbert on it. Shush, 1, half health. Problems on the swing. James will secure it. And still stone-faced. They're so close to realizing the dream of a major trophy. 1 map to the good. 12 rank, 12 rounds secured. Heroic off kilter, black and blue. And now eyes have to be on the prize. Outsiders certainly are. 4 rounds away, 4 attacking rounds. Not necessarily the easiest to achieve, as we have many gathered from around the world to witness a new major champion. Live from Rio de Janeiro. Outsiders playing a gorgeous game of Counter-Strike. It's been exciting for all ages. And Heroic at this point, yeah, they are up against the wall. Covering their face, hoping and praying that they can put up an incredible CT performance, Chad. It has to start now if we want to see Inferno, an iconic third map, but I'm not so sure we see it.
Yeah, well, you could see what the T-side pistol round meant to that Brotherhood, but there was few and far between from there on out. They need to come out swinging and show anything you can do, I can do better. We know that they've had a great CT half in a head-to-head previously, but the 1xBet odds are blown out insane. When they matched up in this tournament on this very map, Heroic started CT side 13-2. So they already have proven to themselves that they can do it. But you need to do it again on the major grand final stage. This one tastes a little bit different.
And so much scrutiny on your individual decision making. On both sides of the server, the call, your reaction to it, your approach, all defining just how much success you find. Now, Shush goes looking briefly down that monster pipe, and they may be over-rotating. Is this what they're accounting for?
They started to drop back with multiple bodies, but they will stay proactive. They will search for information towards A. Cadian understands that, hey, just because B seems clear, it doesn't mean that's the case. But all the pressure on Tessus towards Sandbag and Shush towards ABC.
It's like they're beating Heroic at their own game. They know they'll rotate if there's nothing. Cut the noise, charging in, no resistance. Tessus sandbags. James opens the door, and it's Yabi. Good onto Fame. Takes down a heavy head. Big one out of Tessus. Caught on the reload. Deleted by Flit. Back into the site. Looking to recover. Outsiders. Looking to throw a heavy blow to Heroic with that bomb plant. Shush good on it. Now swings through. Flit is out as well. Only Norbert and gone. Heroic recover. It must win pistol under the belt. Step one on this very precarious ladder climb back into the game.
Well, we said that in the first half as well, right? We said that that type of round was worth its weight in gold. People like to frame the pistol round as a coin toss, right? Very 50-50 environment where anything could possibly happen. So by Heroic being able to pick up both here, now they need to get into these gun rounds. And this is where, right, it is going to get a little bit more difficult by the virtue that Outsiders have such a long runway. As soon as they lose bodies, they can save. They can save, and continue to go with that. So every single round they have something to be a threat. And speaking of saves, we're not going to see one here.
Wow.
Into round number 17. They're going to give James an AK. Everybody else is going to lightly invest. So James looking to open up the account with Cadian on the other side of things right now.
I mean, he could break him. Smart man up against the most flamboyant and energetic, effervescent Counter-Strike leader we've seen in Cadian. There's a lot of similarities between the two. There's also a lot of differences. Heart on the sleeve of one. Heart buried in a box under the sea, I believe, for James. We may see it, though, if he does find the remaining 4 rounds. And he becomes a major champion inscribed in the game for eternity. Norbert, careful. That's Cadian. Given a warning shot. Bodyguard Tessus tends to business. James, that AK. In play, and he's wandered up long. We'll investigate the toilets as well. Tessus forward position. At the same time all this is happening, Shush has just cleared out Monster, so the relay of information should have the Feckles up here for Cadian. He's actually going looking, and James not available. Crosshair just a bit shy for him, even though he had the surprise. Shush wins out on that MP9.
Good damage here, but nothing lethal. Split will find one. Tessus to pick up that M4. Stown trying to run on in and grab something as well here. So yeah, they'll get 3 rifles through to the next. Shush will keep the MP9. Cadian can operate with one of those as well. But remember, that was just one AK that was dropped from Fame to James. And you can still buy again if you're Outsiders. So they kept it as threatening as they possibly could without over-investing here. Fame will operate with merely a Tech 9. But these are the type of rounds where Outsiders are always playing. Right? This is pretty comfortable territory for them. This isn't outside the box. I don't feel that they need the full gun rounds in the same framing, but only time will tell if that's the case. The deep incendiary extinguished. You have to know that something's coming. Tessus forward on long has Cadian to assist. So right now the biggest gap available is connector to the front bathrooms. Now, usually on overpass, there's a bit of timer on that. You know that the Ts have to clear out their corners, throw their standard map control utility, and then you'll acknowledge it once that clock hits the magic moment for you and your theory.
Will they in any way check long? Now, they've considered it, sure, but they do seem to be setting their sights on this gap. The gaping chasm that is just about being closed by Cadian Zorp. He's drawn a line in the sand. Safe passage, Banana. But into the AWP, Fame meets his fate at the hands of Cadian. repositioning, still available. Norbert forward. James trying to maneuver. Norbert shows face, forces utility. Tessus still maintains long, so he'll have info. He can sweep through toilets if they try and fake him out. This cat and mouse game.
One way here.
Yeah, the smoke gap. He's not going to be ready for this. Elevated angle. Oh, and a good one from Norbert. Levels us into a 4-on-4. Jay making decisions. Tessa's still around from behind. Could do damage. 35. They do have to get a wiggle on. Last smoke. Flash. A Molotov. Jane will be throwing it, trying to get Norbert into the site. Tessa's a late component. We'll keep our eye on that. Cadian first to be called upon. And he misses his shot. Smoked off. Has to respect it. Tessus versus Jame. A battle of wits now. As that bomb goes down. He's not clearing it. Neither of them. No, but from behind, he's let his shot go. Only the one from Tessus. 3-on-3, hard to break through. Maybe a bouncy SMG. Yeah, exactly. Oh! Shush! Breaks into the site. A little bit of hope, and it's smashed by Flit. Yabi trying to hold his nerve. There is time, but a 10-second defuse. The kit's forward of it, does retrieve it. James, Wise will jump for the info, gets it safely now as he looks, and Yabi tries to play the game. James confirms, fakes it out, and takes the round. Outsiders are up to 13 at the hands of James in Rio.
I want to see that one again. Like the details in a round like that. Tessa's getting circumvented there, but it's Flit with this double here on the Shush and Cadian. Shush buys in the space with the SMG, but you see his body go flying as Flit flings them away, and James, just the poise, understanding the time is his best friend.
Oh, so beautifully played. You just can't do anything. Yabi, outplayed.
Look at how cool, calm, and collected he is. 3 rounds is all they require right now. That is a huge one to win. And I know it's going to be a long time before we're able to see them post it consecutively. But if they win this next round, maybe that conversation changes completely. Right? This is where we're at right now. Heroic, right? We already spoke backs against the wall. They're going to invest everything they can and more here. If they lose this round, it is essentially the game. Essentially, the game is on the line right here. If Outsiders post a consecutive T round right now, there is nothing for the Danes to work with. Their major trophy hopes and dreams are going down the drain.
And James, with a stacked playbook, has made the call. He knows how much this round could mean and how close to the trophy it would put them. He puts himself in harm's way. Forward position on Fountain. Cadian with an aggressive defense. 2 burrowed into the underpass. Stown and Yabi reactive on B. Shush the anchor. And it is Jane that goes looking. He will investigate the state of play. Kickit doing the same. Here they come. Flash is good. Frags are good. Need Yabi for more. Already on the floor. Down 1 back. Trying to hold on.
Bombs dropping back. There's so much time for this. James just sprung into action. He's taking all this space. Everybody from Heroic responded to this. Norbert's out. He is in the clear. Fame just has to hold them here.
Playing with his food. Fame catches him on the mantle. Heroic's hopes and dreams falling by the wayside. Cadian next victim. Fame 17-3 in the round. Stone dead. Oh dear. Outsiders are inside their heads.
Every single call that's been made throughout this map, it's just been brilliant from Outsiders. Constantly outstacking on the CT side, outcalling them, playing Heroic at their own game in some of these tricky situations. And the trading, it's there. Sure, it's definitely there, but it doesn't count for anything if they've got the rotation points cut off. James literally entrenched deep in towards CT spawn. The knife in hand. Stown had absolutely no idea that was even a possibility. And an eco. 15 is guaranteed for Outsiders.
On the final stage with your opponent on 14. Heroic, cowardly, nothing they can do. They just got to sit back and take it with eco, USP to defend your honor. Outsiders, just the Terminator, inhuman at times. It's just so rigid, well thought out, calculated. And it's really rustled the jimmies of Heroic. And look how diligent they're being. This is an eco. I say that with a single deagle in play.
This is exactly what you do on the T side, especially when you know you have them absolutely broken, scrambling, trying to claw on. grab them out of the depths right here. There's no right option. Just sit back, wait for the push, and absolutely murder them. Fame with 2 more.
He is making a name for himself, Fame and Flit. Quite the duo. A duo I believe we might be talking about for some time to come. And could very shortly be major champions, Fame and Flit.
Yeah, a bit of an FU right now to Heroic here. On the double Deeks down.
Yeah, he'd need a lot more of that. And James, the contingency. Poor old Shush, a USP. And they know where you are. 15 is coming by virtue of the nade. It's James. Bowls him out. And still so close and yet stone-faced. They will not celebrate until that trophy is in their grasp.
This is it right here, right now. Heroic, we mentioned the 3 timeouts burnt within the first half. Exist has an opportunity to get on the mic. Take these 30 seconds, take the breather. Understand you need 10 consecutive rounds just to go to overtime. But this brotherhood of Heroic, they have battled through with the us versus the world mentality time and time again. In the public eye, this team, they have been ripped to shreds, and they have done their best to try and flourish as a unit. And right here, right now, their 3rd consecutive major. Quarterfinal, semi-final, now the grand final. And it looks like they might fall at that final hurdle once more.
They've had some high highs, some low lows, but 15-5, oh no, 10 championship points for Outsiders. Is this really the final round of Rio? To crown new major champions. Nade onto the nose, James. Operating at half. Chip damage.
That's not the way you want to start the round.
Yeah, straight onto Yami. He wasn't even trying to give him the fight. Well-placed Molotov. Kicker's definitely done his homework. Posturing to try and break through. Jane with a sight smoke. Shush to establish that elevated angle on Jail. But Kicker's just trying to walk through. He's caught them out. 1 down. Jabi needs to hold on for his life, for his major life. But down goes Cadian as well. It's Flit. Takes another giant leap towards that trophy. Yabian's down, quaking in their boots. He needs these. He needs a double. They're too good. They're way too good. Heroic. Shattered. Nothing to say on this second map of play. And Tessa's tasked with an impossible one. Outsiders have been perfect. And in Rio de Janeiro, Intel Extreme Masters 2022, he tries his luck. With every passing second of that bomb, the Outsiders prepare to start new celebrations. Finally, Outsiders. 6 years, Dastan and James been chasing this dream. They got the right pieces, and now they got a piece for the trophy cabinet.
Their 5th major appearance. Kick it, Dastan, James. That core has been here before, but they felt the taste of defeat, and this time around, that taste of victory. Oh, it must feel good. Some emotion here. The smiles